O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, homeowners, when is the last time you checked your home title? Scammers are targeting your equity with just a single forged document they file at the county. So don't wait until it's too late. Find out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com and use promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. On this Friday, Jimmy Kimmel has lost his job at ABC, hosting a late night program. It was predictable. I think Mr. Kimmel himself knew that he was on shaky ground. But after the Charlie Kirk murder, sensitivities are heightened. And Mr. Kimmel, unfortunately and inexplicably, made some comments on Monday night that were offensive in the sense that he implied people that support Donald Trump were involved with the murder of Charlie Kirk. That's kind of stunning. And I don't know why Jimmy Kimmel would do that. He's not a stupid man. He's got 10 writers. He's got producers. Nobody's there to say, hey, Jim, this is inappropriate. You can't be doing that. Anyway, the affiliates rebelled, not Disney. Disney and Burbank, the Disney Corporation owns ABC. I don't know what they're doing, but they have gone so far left, progressive, woke, it's insane. But the affiliated stations that are owned by other companies like Nexstar, Sinclair, they said enough. We're not carrying Kimmel, we're going to drop him. And Disney panicked and then got in front of it and said, well, we're going to suspend him too. That's usually the way the corporations go. Anyway, I don't feel any joy that Jimmy Kimmel lost his job. I have a pretty good relationship, or at least did, with him. But I don't understand one bit why he is so self-destructive. Back in a moment. Cold and flu season coming on up. We all know it. So when people start getting sick all across the country, medications disappear. Everybody wants it at the same time. So it's very, very smart to have a pharmacy you can count on, like All Family Pharmacy. Right now, they're helping Americans get ahead of the curve with 10% off antibiotics, antivirals, other essentials. So please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. The overnight rain has fizzled out, and just expect either a spot shower, otherwise mostly cloudy for that drive into work today. Temperatures warming into the mid-80s this afternoon, and a little bit of redevelopment of isolated showers and thunderstorms is possible by the afternoon. This is expected to fade with the setting sun, keeping the rain chances through the weekend. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
We know it's early. Mike's not totally awake yet either. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalkSTL.
The question of tariffs. Okay, this is an interesting one. You know what I think of them. I am not a fan of tariffs at all. I think it's bad policy, but that's not really what we're talking about at the moment. We'll get back to that, though. The courts right now are going to decide, does President Trump have unilateral authority to impose them or change them or eliminate them, or does Congress have to do that through what the Constitution provides for? Well, while we wait for the courts to sort all of that out, the tariffs, for the most part, are intact and are being collected. So what has that impact been on this country? The president and a number of Republicans are pointing out all of the revenue that's been collected by them, but what's the impact it's having on Americans? At 6:35, we're going to get an update on that. A little bit later on today, Gabe Phifer, of course, bringing you Not Today, Satan at 7:50. And that, I think, has become one of the most, the big favorites here on the show. All right. Good morning. Mike Ferguson here. Happy Friday to you. Interesting conversation we had yesterday with Missouri State Senator David Gregory. in the wake of the latest school shooting tragedies, we're talking about Minnesota, and there was one in Colorado as well. And you may not have heard about the one in Colorado because it happened on the same day that Charlie Kirk was murdered. So it was just overwhelmed in the news. But it's got a lot of people around the country saying, okay, how do we make schools safer and still provide for that learning environment? Well, Senator Gregory is floating a proposal that he wants the state to do, and that's look at creating a new law enforcement force that he wants to call the Missouri Rangers. And he kind of described how that would work and what still needs to be decided. And in the end result, why he thinks it would make kids safer when they go to school. Here's what he had to say.
Every state, every community should be evaluating, maybe reevaluating the plans to keep schools safe. So there's a proposal in Missouri to do just that. We're now joined by State Senator David Gregory. And David, you're proposing what you're calling the Missouri Rangers, which would be as I understand it, a specific security law enforcement, I guess, team for each of these schools. What is it that you want to see created, and how would that work with the schools?
Yeah, that's right. It's basically a separate police force that consists of police officers, post-certified folks that are or retired veterans, retired special agents. I've had a lot of them reach out. But basically, it's a separate police force that is trained and specifically focused on school safety. I mean, here's the deal. Police officers are outstanding. They're very good at what they do. But in one moment, they can be doing a traffic stop, and the next they're trying to get to a school with a lead response time and handling a school shooting. That's a lot. That's a lot of different skills to be using at any random time. And so I think it's time, given the threat, that we up the ante here and that we have a police force that is trained and specifically focused entirely on protecting our kids.
How would this be different than the process of using SROs, school resource officers, and partnering with local police departments to do that so many districts do? So what would be the difference when it comes to applying this?
So school resource officers are just general police officers, post-certified, that are assigned to a school by a department, right? So they're a police officer that arrives for the day, and their boss says, hey, go to the school and talk to the kids, mentor them, show them that police officers are good people, and also have a strong presence for safety purposes. But those police officers aren't specifically and highly trained or focused on that and that only. And that's what these Rangers are going to do. They're going to be specifically trained and focused entirely on school safety.
Good morning, Gabe Phifer here. So it sounds like, and you kind of mentioned this in you kind of introducing the idea that you would focus recruitment on police officers who, basically the ones who are kind of coming off of the front lines of the regular being a patrol officer, and those who can, I guess, step down on some level to guarding our schools. Is that a fair characterization of the type of recruitment you're going to be looking to do?
Yeah, that would be some, but my vision is more retired special agents, 50, 55 years old. They're retired. We've got retired military veterans that are 45, 50 years old. They're fully vested. I've got all kinds of different highly trained folks that are still in some prime years of their lives that want to do this. And if you look at other states, I mean, we've got a state like Colorado that created a program similar, and they don't even pay them. This becomes a badge of honor for highly trained folks, former Navy SEALs, former high-level special agents. You look at like special agents that are air marshals, that are trained to handle chaos-tight spaces with firearms and emergencies. And so these people come out as a badge of honor and want to protect their kids in their community. So I think it's a program you'll see some high recruitment.
Okay, and this is being proposed as a state program. So essentially, we're looking at either a branch of or another agency or another department of law enforcement, right?
That's exactly right.
Okay, so by the way, where did the name Missouri Rangers come from? Why did you settle on that? I'm just curious because that is such a distinctive name.
It just seems fitting with the other programs. We've seen programs like that, like I mentioned, out of Colorado. We know Texas has a Rangers program for a highly specialized police force. Now, they do things a little different. They're not focused entirely on children, but we're starting to see a police force named rangers in different states for specialty reasons. And so I thought it was particularly fitting. Quite frankly, I don't care what name we end up with. What I want is it to be something that is marketable, that is going to train, it's going to recruit, and is going to be this badge of honor to our community, to come out, be known as that person who is there to defend our kids.
Now, would the legislation that creates this agency also mandate its use in schools, or is it just making them available and it's up to the school districts whether or not they want to partner?
That's a great question. That's going to depend on where the funding comes in, right? I mean, if we're talking about the state paying for it, we can mandate it, but that's a lot. That's 3,000 schools. I mean, if you do the math, you're talking $200 million a year. Worth it? Sure. Is that going to be hard to find? Of course it is. And so if we can't fully fund it, then we can shift more to a licensure program of post-certified specialty police officers. We'll at least pay to train them, certify them, equip them, and then the schools could pay for it, or perhaps we could go half. Whatever it is we can get done, I want to get it done.
Would this be open to private schools as well, or would this be specifically for public schools?
Yeah, absolutely. My vision is all schools, all kids in the entire state of Missouri. Look, St. Louis and particularly Missouri is the greatest place to raise your family. I'm just not so sure the rest of the country quite sees it yet. I plan on showing that as well, but I want Missouri to continue to be the greatest place to raise a family, and it's going to start with safety, and it's going to be safety in schools.
All right, we're visiting with State Senator David Gregory. What's the read in whether the caucus or the legislative colleagues? I mean, obviously, this is something that hasn't been debated or put forward. But what's the reaction you're getting so far to the proposal itself? And obviously, you'll be filing this, as a bill. But what reaction have you had so far?
Give me a lot of support for the proposal in general. I think it's difficult for anyone to say, I don't like that idea of protecting kids in schools. Very difficult to find that. So in general, a ton of broad support, but my colleagues are super sharp as well. And they're saying things like, hey, what does it look like? What are the logistics? What are the costs? What are ways we can get this done without having a huge fiscal note that we're going to struggle to pay for each and every year. And so that's where the discussion lies. The discussion lies on how we get this done.
And where's going to be the right balance? Because obviously every time there's a tragedy, we hear leftists try to exploit it to say we need more gun control, get rid of the Second Amendment rights and all that sort of thing. But when it comes to the school security, what's the right partnership between state government and local school districts? Because this is just the reality that we just have to be prepared for. It could happen anywhere at any time in the country.
Yeah, it's so hard. So I'm getting reached out from all kinds of folks, parents especially, Senator, do something, please. And so interestingly, even folks have reached out to me saying, I've never voted for you. I still may never vote for you, but I really like the idea of your rangers in schools protecting kids. So it has overall a very strong sentiment of we've got to protect our kids. And, it's hard to argue the right people with a firearm is a bad thing, right? Police officers that are certified, that's a good thing that have a firearm. That's okay to have a firearm in school if you're the right person with the right training who trust is going to protect our kids. And so the key, of course, is always moving towards getting the right people in these schools to protect our kids.
All right, State Senator David Gregory, website. We've already tagged you on our social media website. People want to ask you questions or get in touch about it. What's the best way?
Yeah, the best way is through X or through Facebook. It's at David Gregory Mo, M-O from Missouri. David Gregory Mo.
All right. Thanks a lot, David. Good. We'll talk to you again soon. All right. It's obviously Flashback Friday. Looking forward to seeing what you picked this week as well. 314-912-1019. Going to bring you the news dump right around 6:05 right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
No big old corporate lib AM station telling us what to say here. Conservative talk for St. Louis. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right. First of all, let me just say thank you to everybody who joined us last night at Lindenwood University for Steve Forbes' discussion. Man, there was a lot of stuff that was covered in what he talked about. I got to tell you, I was really surprised. A lot of people kind of forget because we remember the people either that we admire or we don't like, or just public figures. We kind of remember them in their prime, and we remember them from, when they became a big deal. And for him, that was, mid 90s when he ran for president, 1996, I believe it was. When he came out, you forget he's 78 years old. But he gave a much longer discussion than I thought that he was going to. And it was fascinating. I mean, it was just fascinating. Clearly he has not gone the way of Biden mentally. He covered a lot of ground. And what was really great, because I'm a comms guy, I'm a communications guy. And one of the things that I really noticed that he does so well is he's very aware that anything economics can be dry, or people can worry about it being dry.
Yeah.
Which we talked about, which is why when he was on this show a couple days ago, we were kind of looking around going, man, this is going to be a fun event. This is really cool, even though this is a wonky topic. And he was really, really great about setting up what's coming, because he had, 4 or 5 different things he addressed. And when he was about to do one, he would say, and by the way, if you're, you might get mad at me for something, and, there's the exit if you want to stomp out on me, and that sort of thing. Or, I'm glad they don't have a lot of food here because you may get really angry, and, and he goes, but here in a few minutes, I know it's really boring, but here's what we're going to do. And so he was very good at sort of setting the stage, if you will, for the conversation that was coming up. And I was sitting next to Chris Arps and his wife, Becky. And Chris leaned over and he goes, man, I thought this was going to be boring. He said, he is he's got a much better sense of humor than I thought he would have. He said, he was just really enjoying this. Forbes was very matter of fact in his delivery, but he was funny, and he did a great job telling the stories. Now, here's the thing: is Steve Forbes is very, obviously, as we know, very conservative with a very, very strong libertarian sort of influence on him. I mean, he was quoting Madison, he was quoting de Tocqueville, he was quoting Adam Smith, he was quoting Calvin Coolidge, he was quoting, all of these true limited government thinkers. And so it was obvious that he was formed sort of economically and politically and intellectually by the people who look at free markets not as a policy decision, but as the basis for a free, flourishing society.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of economic experts on the various shows around the station.
Yeah.
And, you can tell a lot that there are a lot of very intelligent people, but intelligent people sometimes get too caught up in the dry data.
Right.
Whereas I think it's a very good, strong show of level of grasp and depth of knowledge to be able to take concepts like this, but make them engaging enough that somebody can sit there and say, oh, that applies to me. I understand that. I grasp that. And these are things I probably would be tuning out if I was reading a book.
I'm telling you, everybody who was there last night, hundreds of people who were there last night, I guarantee you know more and you have a much better understanding of the Federal Reserve and their shortcomings and what it's doing wrong and how it's a detriment to our economy right now than you did when you first showed up. I do, because he explained the incentives of the Federal Reserve and how that is how it counteracts efforts to improve the economy.
Yes.
And all of a sudden you're going, oh, there's a lot of people, for instance, you go back to like the Ron Paul movement and all those, they hate the Federal Reserve, but a lot of them don't know why. Ron Paul understands why, so, but, Steve Forbes, laid out not necessarily that these are terrible, evil people who are trying to rule the world. He said, this is what central bankers do. Now, normally you go eyes glazed over in that discussion that follows that. But he laid out the incentives. And he said, this is what they do because this is what it's set up to do. And, every organization wants to defend its own role and position. He said, now that we have it, here's how we should minimize its influence. He also mentioned 2 or 3 times that getting off the gold standard was a horrible mistake.
Oh, yeah.
Which I've been arguing for years. But, of course, he puts it far more eloquently than I ever could. And he was referring to, the inflationary pressures, like, for instance, what the Biden administration did, what the Trump administration did as far as just printing up money and doing, which was completely reckless, trillions of dollars.
Yeah.
And he gave, an example on how that happens and the dangers of that, monetary inflation versus non-monetary inflation. So it was fascinating, and anybody could have kept up with it. Almost anybody could have kept up with it. Now, here's the thing. If you came in expecting a partisan political rally about Canada, you did not get it. He just said, listen, here's the truth. And there were people around, a couple people. I'm like, I'm not sure about that. I'm like, well, but you're thinking about it, and if you end up not agreeing with Steve Forbes, okay. But he laid it out there. Of course, I'm a fan. I have been for a long time. I really enjoy his podcast. I have enjoyed his writings for a long time. I felt he was spot on. I expected to feel that he was spot on. But I really feel like, and I read a lot of this stuff. I mean, I don't have a degree in economics. My degree is in something else. But I do a lot of work with economists, and I have for many years. So I like to think I have a little more of an understanding than the average bear. But I am by no means an expert, and I never will be. But I really feel like I am equipped better now to understand what I'm seeing and reading in the news than I was before. And that's why I love the fact that we can do these events, because conventional wisdom says, don't do that heady, boring policy wonk stuff. Just do the rallies where people shout and call names and things like that. Hundreds of people turned out last night for this event. And it was for the purpose of leaving with information and challenges that you didn't have before. And I think that the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise, Young America's Foundation, at Steve Forbes, I think they knocked it out of the park. It was a great event last night.
Yeah, and I knew you were a big Steve Forbes guy before even the event was this close to happening. But seeing your face kind of light up while you're recalling it, I mean, it makes me smile too. So if you're watching the stream, you can see how he's very giddy right now.
Yeah.
But good economics, to your point about the whole partisanship, good economics should not be a partisan issue. It should be, because when good economics is in play, everybody's flourishing. So even the people that you think you hate the most, they're going to be doing well. And bad economics, you're going to hurt just as much as your enemy.
And he actually addressed that. He actually addressed that. And what I really appreciated and enjoyed was how he kind of brought everything back to people.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple times when he was throwing out, statistics or stats, he actually called himself on that. He's like, I apologize for just throwing some numbers at you, but here's this, and then here's what it means.
Mhm.
So it's the way I think we teach economics all wrong in this country. I think we teach economics wrong because we teach it as math. This happens, this policy happens, therefore X. Instead of, here are the incentives that have influenced people's behavior.
It is a lot more of a scientific theory than a mathematical theory. That's for sure.
It's a social science more than it is a mathematical science. And honestly, it is a little bit more of a social art when it comes to policy. And that was, I think, just a great part of this. Now, you want to talk about a little bit giddy. Afterwards, I was in the group that got to meet him afterwards. I met him for like a minute or two. So it's not like I had a deep, long conversation with him. I had a much longer conversation with him here on the air when he was with us a couple of days ago. And so we're all coming in to get our picture taken with him and that sort of thing. And I said, I'm the radio host that you did the interview with the other day. And he kind of lifts, he goes, that was a fun interview. He goes, thanks for doing that. Thanks for promoting this. Now he may be so good at this that he just tells every media person, because us media people have egos. Let's be honest about that. But he referenced something that we were talking about. He goes, no, I really had a good time on that interview, which was great. And then this is one of my little check mark moments. He said, oh, do you have a business card?
Wow.
Steve Forbes asked for my business card. Now, it may have been used to wad up his chewing gum and go into the trash just so he didn't make a mess. I don't know, but I will be able to brag if I ever wanted to that Steve Forbes asked me for my business card. Like I said, which could very well be on the bottom of the trash can of his hotel room right now. I don't know, but still, he was very pleasant, very nice to work with. And it was just a really great event. And I hope we do more of these things, because there was just a lot to it. And, even though it wasn't, fireworks and laser lights and dancing girls or anything like that, it was something I think everybody left with. And I guarantee you there was a lot of really interesting conversations happening in cars on the way home last night.
That's what's so important with these sorts of events, is not just getting the community together, because I can imagine at every event that I've gone to for News Talk, we're not out there saying, by the way, are you conservative or are you liberal? I mean, there are liberals that will come to try to crash stuff because they're goofy.
We had that happen.
But if they can learn something, then, so there's that one element, but then to also, again, have people like this that can break down these concepts that a lot of people just start tuning out, make it engaging enough to say, okay, so that's why people want to abolish the Fed.
Yeah.
That's why people are anti-tariff or pro-tariff. That's why this matters. And maybe we're focusing too much on X, Y, and Z, but A, B, and C, we have more control. That is so powerful for people to be able to go to these events, learn this knowledge, walk away with something new. And then now going forward, you knew more than you knew before, and you didn't have to take a college course to understand it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to see some of the pictures of the event, just go to newstalkstl.com. We've already got some of those put up. We put some up, I think, on our social media last night. So we'll have more like official pictures, because Lindenwood University took a lot with professional photographers there. It was also kind of fun because that Scheidegger Center, there's a television studio in there as well. That's where I did my old TV show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my old Missouri Viewpoints TV show, which we did 300 and some odd episodes of that. And I told Jeff, our boss, I'm like, I'm going to go just see the studio. My set is still there. Now, it doesn't have the Missouri Viewpoint stuff anymore, but I was so excited. I actually grabbed a picture of my old set that I did all of those great conversations on. So it was a great night. I had a great time.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
You and I might have something in common. Back pain. I can tell you where I go for help. Esquire Sports Medicine, the spine of St. Louis. They can put athletes back on the field so they can clearly help us. Esquire Sports Medicine hands-on chiropractic help on Big Bend, just north of Highway 40. 314-644-0885. EsquireSportsMedicine.com. EsquireSportsMedicine.com. Hey, Jamie Allman here for the Great Window World. You know, just over the last 20 years of Window World being in St. Louis, they've improved the look and thermal efficiency of more than 76,000 customers in St. Louis. Plus, Window World windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And now Window World is now offering 36 months, same as cash financing, with approved credit. Call them today at 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. ABC TV's indefinite suspension of late-night comedian Jimmy Kimmel is drawing fire from Democrats on Capitol Hill. They see the cancellation as so-called censorship advocated by the Federal Communications Commission. But FCC Chairman Brendan Carr is challenging those accusations. Carr says the FCC doesn't license national TV networks and that the Kimmel decision was pushed by owners of local TV stations around the country.
And what happened the first time, frankly, in modern history, is local TV stations, first Nexstar, which owns some, then Sinclair, which owns others, says, listen, we don't want to run Kimmel. We don't think it actually serves the needs of our communities in Utah, in Pennsylvania. And so this is TV stations pushing back on national programmers, which I think is a very good thing.
The FCC chairman interviewed on the Scott Jennings Show on the Salem Radio Network. She will carry on her late husband's legacy. Charlie Kirk's widow will take the helm at Turning Point USA. She's a unanimous choice of Turning Point's board of directors. The board releasing a statement that reads in part, "It is our great pride to announce Erica Kirk as the new CEO and chair of the board." The announcement adds that in prior discussions, Charlie expressed to multiple executives that this is what he wanted in the event of his death. President Trump due to speak with his Chinese counterpart later today. Mr. Trump and Xi Jinping will talk about finalizing a TikTok deal.
TikTok has tremendous value. The United States has that value in its hand because we're the ones that have to approve it. I specifically get the right to approve it.
Citing national security concerns, Congress has ordered TikTok to sell its assets to an American company or face a ban in the U.S. Watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures are down 12 points. NASDAQ futures 22 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
They say timing is everything in the gold and silver markets, and it's true. Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. Although you can buy at the right time, if you buy the wrong coins, you may not make a profit. When gold was $400 an ounce, many people were talked into buying high-grade old gold and silver collector's coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gordon's and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible, given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. The overnight rain has fizzled out, and just expect either a spot shower, otherwise mostly cloudy for that drive into work today. Temperatures warming into the mid-80s this afternoon, and a little bit of redevelopment of isolated showers and thunderstorms is possible by the afternoon. This is expected to fade with the setting sun, keeping the rain chances through the weekend. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Basement with a Y. That's Basement E.
It's Basement T.
Basement E?
It's Basement T.
Oh, Basement T. Basement T. I get it. That's the basement waterproofing and foundation repair experts at Woods Basement Systems.
Right. The All Things Basement Tea experts at Woods Basement Systems will provide you a free estimate and dry out that wet basement and fix that cracked foundation. Call 800-388-9326 or go online to woodsbasementsystems.com.
That's woodsbasementsystems.com.
Tim Jones here. When life changes, which it does, you need someone you can trust, and that's Todd Sivia. The non-stuffy attorneys at Sivia Law specialize in estate planning and elder law with 7 convenient area locations. 833-995-WILL. 833-995-WILL is how you reach them. CiviaLaw.com. The first 10 people that tell them Tim Jones sent me receive a complimentary $300 strategy session. The non-stuffy attorney lawyers, Civia Law, 833-995-WILL.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Like Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
NewsTalkSTL.
Mike Ferguson. Gabe Phifer.
You are a whip scientist and you could be a whip villain.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
Thundercats!
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right. Will the Show Me State have a bigger role in the fight against illegal immigration? Yeah. Turning Point USA picks its new leader to succeed Charlie Kirk. We will talk about that and the funeral coming up this weekend. And as baseball season winds down, hockey season is about to ramp up.
Here we go.
And we had a question that came in regarding, we're talking about the Steve Forbes event last night. And what was that?
So Ellison was wondering, because we all know you're a big nerd when it comes to economics.
Absolutely. And I'm a Steve Forbes guy.
Yeah. And you've taught me quite a bit. So I'm also curious, but is there anything that you learned that you didn't think you were going to take away, but you ended up walking away with?
Yeah. The incentives regarding the central banks.
Right.
And the Federal Reserve, because, he spent a pretty good amount of time on that. And that was, this is an incredibly complex thing. And I wouldn't say he made it simple for everybody, but he made it reachable. Yeah. Reachable. And because we think of, these central bankers in the Federal Reserve and they're tinkering with interest rates. And he actually got into, okay, here's why central banks are generally speaking a deadweight on economies wherever they're formed. And he talked about the incentives of it.
Right.
And then how it becomes so counterproductive, ridiculous. Like, for instance, he says, you will hear them say words. And when he said it, we're like, yeah, we've all read that in the reports. They're concerned about the economy overheating and they need to cool it to it's like, well, wait a minute. What does overheating mean? It means people are making more money and more jobs are but because of their role, they need to maintain their influence. And I'm oversimplifying it, but I came away with a much bigger understanding, not necessarily of the inner workings of the Federal Reserve, but of the incentives and why it's something that has to be worked around and dealt with by the people who are free markets. So.
Right. Yeah. And ultimately, I would love it if it was just kind of dismantled. But, that's a whole.
Yeah.
That's a whole.
Yeah,
story.
absolutely. And then there were other things. He is not a tariff guy either, and he explained why.
Right.
He wasn't attacking anybody, but it was very clear he disagrees with the direction of the policy right now.
Right.
Really that, because if you talk to people who are passionate about the Federal Reserve, you're oftentimes talking to people who don't have much else in their life but being passionate about the Federal Reserve, regardless of what they do for a living. And so
you ran in a lot of those libertarian circles where that was the thing.
Yes, exactly.
Let's put it in context.
It's like, it's a nice day today. Yeah, it's a nice day to audit the Fed. Ron Paul revolution.
They sound just as delightful as vegans.
Oh. Oh my goodness. And I've interviewed Ron Paul. I've met Ron Paul, and Ron Paul is right on pretty much, not everything, but almost pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic that he got people tuning into that. But I think a lot of people get passionate and they don't understand some of the aspects of it.
Yeah.
And Steve Forbes basically is affirming, you know, what a lot of what you heard from the Ron Paul movement, he's affirming it, and he's saying, okay, let's talk about why.
Right.
You know, and so it was a great supplement to that. So if somebody is, you know, basically service level angry about it, they got a little more information and sort of stockpiled more ammunition for that.
That kind of understanding, I think, is essential. I was just thinking about the concept of talking points this morning for random reasons, because that's how my brain works. And there's nothing inherently bad about talking points, but because they're a tool. They're a tool to make palatable larger ideas and make it more efficiently discussed in a wide audience. But the thing is, a lot of people use talking points without having the underlying knowledge about what the talking point it means or what it's alluding to, and that's, I think, where the problem is. That's where talking points has become a dirty word, because it's just indicative. It's become indicative of the fact that you don't actually know what you're talking about. You're just saying phrases.
It's the danger of a social media influencer level of discourse.
Yes, absolutely. So yes, educate yourself so you can actually argue the talking points.
Precisely. I would love to get back to, let's sit around and meet for coffee and discuss things in more depth and make that a form of our entertainment and things like that.
Absolutely.
All right. Kind of front porch conversations kind of thing, you know. All right. Should we do a news dump?
Maybe.
Let's do one.
Yeah,
All
okay.
right.
Let's
6:10 right now. Let's go and dump some news on you here.
The morning news dump. Are you joking? Is this a joke? Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer welcomes the National Guard, just not as law enforcement. Okay. So when asked by a KMOV reporter about the possibility of President Trump deploying Guard troops into the city, the mayor on Thursday made a distinction as to what she thinks they should be used for and what they should not be used for.
You know, I don't believe the National Guard should be involved in fighting crime, but where the National Guard has been helpful to the city of St. Louis in the past is in debris removal. They were very, very helpful in providing leadership at the drop sites for debris throughout our community.
I think that was a very good answer by the mayor.
Very good answer.
Governor Mike Kehoe says he has no plans to activate the Guard for law enforcement anywhere in the state. President Trump has not made a final decision on federalizing troops for St. Louis.
Yeah, I keep saying it. National Guard is good for logistics. So if that's their purpose, I'm fine with that. But also, President Trump can't do these things unilaterally
he shouldn't be
anywhere else than DC.
Yeah. He shouldn't be able to.
Yeah,
precisely. Okay. Senator Eric Schmidt wants Missouri to have a bigger role in fighting illegal immigration. At a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, he promoted the idea of using Fort Leonard Wood as a training site for ICE agents. The senator cited the large amount of land and the fact that the fort is already being used for training military police as reasons to include it on ICE's operations. So basically, he's arguing they're already set up for law enforcement training. I mean, military police, so not civilian. He said, but they're already set up to be able to do that. You can basically backfill this role into Fort Leonard Wood.
I'm all for cross-agency cooperation, and that sounds like it, because otherwise, ICE is going to come to the Congress and say, "Hey, can we have money to build a training center?"
Yeah.
Well, how about you just use Fort
How
Leonard
about you
Wood?
use the one that's already there?
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fine. Sounds good to me.
And that would obviously be a big boon to Rolla.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well, or that area, just because, you'd be increasing the activity on the base.
To me, that's like Doge-style governance right there.
There you go.
Efficiency, save money.
Yep. Okay, I want to talk about this around 6:20 here, guys. But ABC, as you know, pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live, and we're all kind of doing a happy dance to Jimmy Kimmel's. It's not even that he's off the air and can't say what he says, because I think most of us didn't listen to him anymore or watch
of course
him.
not.
Just that he kind of got his.
Yeah,
it's
the Schadenfreude.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. But here's the thing. We've got new information since yesterday's show. So it turns out that the FCC suggested that ABC's broadcast license, now ABC Network doesn't have the license, but the affiliates,
right?
The FCC suggested their broadcast licenses were at risk because of Kimmel's comments.
Now, this is the thing. I was saying it wasn't, and now they made me a liar. It was true at the time.
At the time. So now we have more. So FCC Chairman Brendan Carr was on the Will Cain show on Fox to share his view on the situation and what he calls the importance of public interest obligation.
We're going to continue to hold these broadcasters accountable to the public interest. And if broadcasters don't like that, simple solution, they can turn their license into the FCC. There's other things that we can do with it that would serve the national interest.
Okay, so I want to get into this in more depth at 6:20 here, guys, because I love that Jimmy Kimmel got his, but we were under the impression that this was a market reaction to what he said.
Right.
We're now being told by Brendan Carr and frankly by the president, who was asked about this by reporters, that they did put pressure on ABC. And I want to look at this not as, but Jimmy Kimmel's a jerk who's got TDS, which
Right.
he is and does.
Yeah. Both true.
That TV is better off without him. It is.
That's true.
Their ratings were in a free fall. They are.
Also true.
But let's think about the bigger picture here. And I'm coming at this from the angle of somebody who makes his living being very pointed and opinionated and criticizing a lot of people. And a lot of the people that I'm criticizing are going to be in power someday.
Yeah. See,
So
we need an FCC license here.
Yes.
And kind of important to us.
Okay, so 620. Let's see if we can take that bigger picture. I'm really curious what everybody thinks about this. Okay, Turning Point USA picks Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, to lead the organization after his assassination last week. The board unanimously chose her to be the CEO and chair of the board. Now, keep in mind, the memorial service for Charlie Kirk is Sunday at State Farm Stadium in Arizona. It is going to be broadcast on several conservative outlets. We are going to have all of that information for you just a little bit later on. And it is officially preseason for the Blues. Their training camp for the upcoming season is now underway in Maryland Heights. The Blues' first preseason exhibition games are this weekend. 2 games on the road, tomorrow in Dallas against the Stars and Sunday in Columbus against the Blue Jackets.
Destination, making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now.
It's Friday.
Right now, before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Larry Connors here. Is your home ready for the chilly months ahead? Renewal by Andersen has a buy one, get one 50% off window event. And if you qualify, 18 months, no payments, 0 interest. Not sure if it's the right time? Renewal makes it easy. No obligation window inspection. Just find out what new windows might cost when you're ready. No pressure, no hassle. And remember, no one but Renewal by Andersen can offer Fibrex, the proprietary window frame material, 200% stronger than vinyl. Means durability, efficiency, beauty that lasts every season. What are you waiting for? Call 877-WINDOWS or visit rbastl.com and get your consultation. Renewal by Andersen. Superior products. Exceptional service.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
For 3 generations, one family has ruled the road in quality asphalt paving. Ruby's King of the Road Hot Mix Asphalt Paving. Family owned and operated. We're your leading authority for driveways, lanes, and parking areas. No project is too small or too large. We cater to both residential and commercial needs with unbeatable quality at just $38 per square yard plus labor. Call 636-295-9949. 636-295-9949. Ruby's King of the Road Hot Mix Asphalt Paving. You save when we pave.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young. Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
So O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
I wore the right shirt
You
today.
wore the right shirt, exactly.
Nice.
Man, starting off with John Williams.
Yes.
Right away.
You know what? Every time I encounter a John Williams theme from the 1980s, I realize that he basically he wrote the soundtrack for my childhood.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So so many things. And thanks for starting off strong, Jerome, with that one. I think that one defined a lot of people's actually it defined a lot, I think, for the 80s itself. Like that Star Wars changed sci-fi movies forever, and it made them a big deal.
Yeah, as a reminder to the audience that's listening that's kind of confused, today's theme was movie, TV theme songs or something, and for me personally, I know the original Star Wars came out in like the 70s at some point.
77 was the first one, 80 was the second, 83 was the third.
So Star Wars is like quintessential 80s to me.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Just had to start off right,
Absolutely.
Oh, man. All right, 6:20 right now. Okay, let's talk about this Jimmy Kimmel thing again.
Mhm.
And this is in the interest of I really want to remain intellectually consistent and honest on this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
314-912-1019. And see, the thing is, it's Friday, and I know I'm at risk of pissing some people off.
Yeah.
Okay. But I
But
that's
guys,
not what
come
I
on.
mean to do. But here's the thing. We're now getting a different set of information now. So should we be worried about where this can go? So here's what's going on. First of all, let me just start out by reminding everybody that Jimmy Kimmel is an insufferable moron.
Yes.
And the market was reacting to that. His ratings were in an absolute free fall.
Yeah, I can guarantee you that his affiliates were not making money on him.
No. And so the market was reacting to his show, but that's not the point, because when we're talking about this yesterday, what we had been told of and I read like 4 articles on this, including the original press releases from things like Nexstar and whatever else, is that Nexstar, which owns a bunch of affiliates, decided that this is not in the public interest.
Right.
We're done with this. Basically, it's a nice way of saying he's really ticking off a lot of our audience. We're going to losing our shirt on this.
Right. And they were using very FCC alluding language in the dissolution.
Right. And so and then with them losing that many affiliates, then ABC had to make a market decision. And so we were being told that this was entirely a free market thing.
Right.
Which is the best when you see a leftist dumbbutt lose his stuff because of a free market reaction. That is a libertarian's dream.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so here's the thing, is that that's not the entire story we now know. So President Trump, obviously cheering the suspension of late night TV host Kimmel, did government have a role in that decision? Brandon, is my Jerome, is my thing up here real quick? Yeah, I'm sorry. So there's like, we got some phone calls coming in. Wait a minute. Okay. So the question is, did government actually have a role in this? Here's the story.
The president called Kimmel's suspension great news for America.
He said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk.
ABC pulled the show after pressure from Trump's FCC chairman, but the president said it wasn't a free speech issue.
You can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
Writing online, the president called for the removal of NBC's late night hosts, Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers, citing horrible ratings. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is giving me some heartburn here. And
Yeah.
please don't take this as a defense of Jimmy Kimmel. I'm surprised Jimmy Kimmel was still on the air after all these years, just
Right.
because, he's so insufferable.
We saw what happened to Colbert, and we were
Right.
pretty sure. I'm still pretty sure that was an actual market decision.
Yeah. For instance, here's an article I'm reading, news article. Speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One while returning from Great Britain on Thursday, Trump said federal regulators should consider revoking broadcast licenses for networks that, quoting the president, give me only bad publicity. All they do is hit Trump, he said. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that. They're an arm of the Democratic Party. The article goes on to say Brendan Carr, Trump's handpicked head of the Federal Communications Commission, issued a similar warning the previous day while criticizing Kimmel's remarks about the political ideology of the suspected assassin. Quoting Brendan Carr here, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
Oh, boy.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I don't think this is a case of all's well that ends well, and it doesn't matter how. The how really matters here.
It really, really does.
So we're now being told, basically right now, that the government, the Trump administration, the FCC, basically said, we don't like what that guy's saying. Nice broadcast license you've got here. It would be a shame if something happened to it.
So again, when it comes from the market itself,
yes,
I'm not going to shed tears over Jimmy
No,
Kimmel.
no,
Absolutely, especially after what he said about non-vaccinated COVID people. But,
oh yeah, that was gross.
But when it's coming from the people, that's one thing. When it's coming from the government, does that not then become a First Amendment issue? Because that is the government specific. And I hated when Biden did it, and Biden absolutely did it.
Yeah, he did it.
A circuit federal court judge said it was a clear violation of the First Amendment. Didn't face any sort of backlash for that for some reason, but. How are we supposed to condemn it when they do it and then cheer when it's our side?
Yeah, see, and that's why I bring this up.
Right.
One, because I think it's the right thing to do. Secondly, I want to take a much bigger picture. Don't focus on Jimmy Kimmel and Donald Trump.
Right.
Okay, someday the Democrats are going to be in the White House. Someday the Democrats are going to have both chambers of Congress or one chamber of Congress. Someday they're going to have the numbers that the Republicans have right now. It happens. It goes back and forth. Maybe not next year, maybe not 2028, but at some point it's going to happen. I just try to look at this as, okay, if this is the precedent, if this is what we say, hey, we won the election, to the victors goes the spoils.
Yeah, right.
What's going to happen to a radio station like News Talk STL that challenges and critiques those in power?
Yeah.
Regardless of which party.
Really, we already saw it. We already saw it under Biden, right? We already had our Facebook ad just saying that we were here 4 years ago. It's like, hey, we're conservatives over here.
Yeah.
No, you can't advertise because that's election interference. Right. That's the warning we got from Facebook. And the reason we got that warning from Facebook was because of the Biden administration putting pressure on them to tamp down on quote unquote right-wing voter interference. So look, this isn't even a theoretical anymore. This is we know what the other side would do with this power. So we should not, and we cannot give into letting that power simply exist in government.
Yeah.
We should be doing everything we can as the people on the right, pressuring our representatives in government to eliminate the possibility of these kinds of things happening.
And we have Dave the Dozer.
Dave the Dozer. All right.
That's my little nickname for him.
Oh, got it.
Okay, Dave.
Hey, Dave, you're on News Talk STL. What do you think?
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Dr. Jerome, for the pre getting out the venom. Mike, I love you, and there's times I love to hate you, and there's times I love to love you. This is the time I love to hate you, and I'll explain why. I agree with you, except this time I wish Trump would say, okay, how does it feel? We're playing your game against you, and it sucks, doesn't it? I agree. If the federal government is pressuring it is wrong. But my God, it does feel so good.
No, I get that. I
Yeah.
absolutely 100% get that.
Look, that kind of catharsis, it works. You know, if we're talking about like a temporary, hey, I played your game, you see how it's not good, let's have a detente and stop it. That kind of thing might work with individual relationships. It might even work in larger societal battles. But at government level, that's the problem. There is like when you establish something in the government, it becomes basically permanent, if not semi-permanent. It doesn't calm down very quickly. So we're going to see the backlash. Even just this little foray with Jimmy Kimmel, we're going to see the backlash when the left gets in power.
Let me, and then Dave, give me a response to this. Here's the thing, and I am completely hypocritical on this because I don't care when it hits people like Jimmy Kimmel, but I care because that's setting things up for them to take out people like me.
Mike, I agree with you, and we talked about this, I believe, earlier in the week. They're both sides are nothing but more than petulant children.
Mm-hmm.
They both. Here's the best way to solve it, and while it's violent, it's controlled violence. Let's go UFC. Let's go boxing. To the victor goes the spoil. If you can't sit down and talk like adults, then that's the only other option because violence, as we see, people cheered Charlie Kirk being executed, assassinated, which that is their right. I think they need more than mental illness help. But I don't ever see either side trying to have adult dialogue because almost all elected officials at some point in time have their brains lobotomized and they just become robots. And honestly, I think anymore, it's just like a paycheck to almost 99.9% of them.
Yeah, power lobotomizes. I think you're onto something there, Dave. I got to get to an information segment, man. Thanks so much for being on the show again. Have a fantastic.
Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, the power doesn't just corrupt; it lobotomizes. I like that.
I love that.
Well done. Well played. Now, don't forget though, we've got really great weekend programming in addition to the awesome FCC sanctioned programming
right.
that we
are in the government's good graces right now.
The great programming we have during the weekdays. We also continue the discussion over the weekend. And we have a program called The Lion Week in Review from our friends at the Herzog Foundation. And that's Sunday mornings at 8:30. Check it out.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. The overnight rain has fizzled out and just expect either a spot shower, otherwise mostly cloudy for that drive into work today. Temperatures warming into the mid 80s this afternoon, and a little bit of redevelopment of isolated showers and thunderstorms is possible by the afternoon. This is expected to fade with the setting sun, keeping the rain chances through the weekend. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, does having more economic freedom make a difference in people's lives, such as maybe helping reduce poverty?
It definitely makes a difference. Economic freedom is critical for fostering well-being and prosperity. It enables people to make their own choices and pursue their own interest, like choosing careers, starting businesses, and innovating to make the world better. It thrives in environments that empower people, promote competition, and protect property rights, all while being supported by limited and healthy government. Economic freedom is a catalyst for generating higher incomes, greater wealth, more opportunities, better access to education, and improved health at all levels of society. It makes a difference.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Fall is here, and Daniel's Farm and Greenhouse has everything you need to make your yard shine. From vibrant mums and fall blooms to pumpkins, gourds, and seasonal containers that will make your neighbors jealous. Need trees, shrubs, or vegetables? We got you covered with 15 greenhouses of full-quality plants, mulch, soil, and winter protection supplies. Our family knowledgeable staff is here to help you 7 days a week. Daniel's Farm and Greenhouse, family-owned and your outdoor experts. On Juggerman and St. Peters and at danielsfarminggreenhouse.com.
Hey folks, the Clayton Sleep Institute and my friend Dr. Ojal back supporting free common sense conservative radio. ClaytonSleep.com. treating the full range of adult and pediatric sleep disorders from sleep apnea to insomnia, restless leg syndrome, periodic limb movement, and narcolepsy. What an awesome place. New comfy setting for the sleep lab. ClaytonSleep.com, 314-645-5855. Better sleep, better life.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Fed has dropped rates and has plans to do it twice more by the end of the year. What does that mean for you and your family? Money man Johnny Tobacco joins us at 5:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah. This one, look, here, this theme is indicative of the fact that in the 80s, they had no reason to go hard on the intros, but they did.
They did.
Like every single time. Because this is Alf, guys.
Oh, yeah.
This is Alf, ALF, Alien Life Form.
Yep.
His name was Gordon Shumway. Don't ask me why I remember these things.
Because you're a nerd.
Yes, absolutely. But this song is tight. It's a tight song.
Oh my goodness.
The bass line on that song.
So Flashback Friday with TV and movie themes today. Man, you guys are bringing back the memories today. Thanks for these requests. All right, 6:34 right now. There are pros and cons to everything.
Yes.
Okay. There's always, economists will call them trade-offs, but for instance, when it comes to President Trump's tariffs, he's pointing to the billions of dollars in revenues that have been collected, but does that offset the cons of this? We're now joined by Bryan Riley from the National Taxpayers Union. And Bryan, this is great timing because just last night we were involved in an event with Steve Forbes here in the St. Louis area. And he spoke about the so-called Liberation Day tariffs that the president is putting into place. And he touched on the court, fight over that and what's eventually going to happen. But he talked about those trade-offs and what they do to other aspects of the economy. And I'm looking at the op-ed that you all what you all published regarding some of those trade-offs now. And while you're looking at the billions and billions of dollars that the government's created or the tariffs have generated for the government coffers, you all are pointing out that this is having an effect in the workforce already. What are you finding and what should people know to start this conversation?
Well, I'm glad Steve Forbes was there in the area talking last night because he's got a pretty good handle on this stuff. Every time I've heard him talk about trade policy, but tariffs are taxes. And as a conservative and as an employee of the National Taxpayers Union, I got to admit I get a little frustrated when I hear the Trump administration bragging about all the tariff revenue coming in. And by the way, we work a lot and support a lot of the Trump administration's initiatives. But we're coming from a perspective of these are taxes on Americans, and to hear Republicans bragging about a big, huge tax increase, I say huge, it's over $300 billion a year, and the tariffs are paid by Americans, they're not paid by foreigners. So, in my opinion, if we want to reduce the budget deficit, and we do, and I do, the best way to get at that is by controlling government spending, not by hiking taxes, and then by bragging about hiking taxes. It's unbelievable for me to hear Republicans doing this. And since those Liberation Day tariffs went into effect, by the way, we've lost jobs in the manufacturing industry, in the construction industry. If you're a soybean farmer in Missouri or Illinois, those tariffs are not doing you any good. So there are trade-offs, and there are some benefits. If you're a steel producer, a steel manufacturer, you probably love these tariffs. But if you're in an industry that uses steel, whether it's construction or car manufacturing or buying farm implements, you're going to be paying more as a result. So I don't think it's a smart policy at all, and I really hope the Supreme Court gets rid of these tariffs.
Good morning, Brian. Gabe Phifer here. So what it sounds like is that at net, the net effect is negative because like Mike mentioned, there was the pros and the cons. Like you mentioned just a second ago, there is a pro in the steel producers and a negative in the steel users. So is that 100,000 lost jobs in manufacturing basically taking into account both the, I guess, jobs gained in one sector versus jobs lost in the other?
Yes, that's net, and that 100,000 is not just manufacturing. It's the total jobs lost in some of those industries and sectors that were affected by trade, like retail and wholesale jobs, where if tariffs go up, it's harder for them to sell goods to Americans. So it is a net effect. And a lot of the things we import, people think of shoes or they think of T-shirts, but over half the things we import are parts, are intermediate goods, are raw materials, or things that or fertilizer, or things that we need to do business in the United States. So it seems to me if you want to boost U.S. producers, we shouldn't be driving up the cost of doing business, and that's what tariffs on those products do. They make it more expensive to do business here. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Yeah. Now, if you look up National Taxpayers Union writing on this, which we'll give you that website here in just a minute, but we're talking about 100,000 jobs lost across construction, manufacturing, mining, logging, and then you just mentioned wholesale and retail sectors, Bryan. So how do those job losses happen? Because there's been such a big emphasis on these are basically protectionist in nature in order to, the argument from the White House is we're going to enact all these trade barriers, these tariffs, these taxes in order to force the market to manufacture stuff in the United States. And his argument is this is going to grow the manufacturing industry. This is going to grow the wholesale industry in the United States. And now what we're seeing is this net loss of jobs in the United States.
It is really just picking winners. You guys started by discussing the trade-offs, and you can help some manufacturers. And what most economists and political scientists would tell you historically, Steve Forbes probably would say it, certainly Milton Friedman, famous Nobel Prize-winning economist, said, look, what are the reasons we have tariffs is the benefits are obvious, and the costs are hidden. You go buy a product at the grocery store, and there's nothing on your tomatoes saying these cost another extra 25% because of tariffs. So the cost is hidden. But if you're a tomato grower in Florida, you see the benefits. So politically, that's why we have pressure for these tariffs. And a lot of manufacturers who are hurt, they're willing to talk about it privately, but some of them are pretty cautious about saying anything publicly because they don't want to risk a political backlash. Where everybody who likes the tariffs, they're out there every day, encouraging President Trump to keep it up and keep doing more. So the argument a lot of times can be kind of one-sided, and typically. You'd have, at least on the Republican side, more pushback because Republicans, if you think back to the time of President Reagan, weren't a big fan of this approach. But even the ones who are concerned about the tariffs, they're pretty quiet because we have a Republican president and they don't want to get crossways with him. On the flip side, we've got some Democrats who in the past were pretty big fans of this type of policy who are now are speaking out. So. I guess there's a lot of politics involved in all of this.
So what about the argument, but these other countries are doing it to us? The president used the word reciprocal. And so if they're doing it to us, then we need to do it to them. And then the whole level the playing field argument, because there's a strong emotional appeal to that, to the general public. So what should we actually know about the nitty gritty of that argument?
Right. Well, number one, these are not reciprocal tariffs. Trump, during the campaign, he came into office, said, we're going to have reciprocal tariffs. His executive order said, we're going to have reciprocal tariffs. To me, a reciprocal tariff is if Europe or the European Union puts a 4% tariff on our goods, we're going to reciprocate by putting a 4% tariff on their goods. So we can talk about whether that's a good idea or not, but we're not putting a 4% tariff on their goods. We're putting a 15% tariff on their goods. We're putting non-reciprocal high tariffs on our trading partners, the highest tariffs in the industrialized world. So we're not doing reciprocity. We're putting huge tariffs on you for various reasons. we have a trade deficit with you, and we don't like that. And we think it's a national security risk. We don't like your domestic policies, Brazil, so we're going to put big tariffs on you. It's not reciprocity. Now, the idea that in terms of fairness, I'm a little bit skeptical of the idea that we just want to copy bad policies from other countries. I think we should do what's in our best interest. If the goal of this is, and what we encourage President Trump to do is something that he said in his first term, the goal of these reciprocal tariffs is negotiating leverage to bring tariffs down to zero on both sides. I think that's what we ought to be doing. Instead, we're seeing high tariffs in the U.S., and when our tariffs are high, it means our trading partners can't sell us as much. That means they have less money to buy U.S. exports and invest in our economy. So it backfires on us in terms of if you're an exporter, we're going to have reduced opportunities in other countries. So the idea of fairness and reciprocity, I think, is great as long as we're talking about bringing barriers down on both sides, not jacking up U.S. barriers and coercing other countries into lowering their barriers. That might work in the short term, but when you've got Canadians booing the national anthem and boycotting U.S. goods, that's going to have a long-term impact on our economy, I'm afraid.
In terms of a long-term impact, some people suggest that eventually repatriating some of these industries back to United States actually serves a sort of national security purpose as well. In your view, is there any merit to that argument?
At least for the manufacturing side, you mean? Yeah.
Certain manufacturing sectors,
okay.
yeah, certain production, yeah.
Right. Well, absolutely. I don't want to depend on North Korea for our nuclear missiles. So I think you got to be reasonable about this kind of stuff. But number one, our manufacturing output is, if not at an all-time high, close to an all-time high. When somebody says, "Oh, we don't make anything in the U.S. anymore," it's just not true. Now, we don't employ as many people in manufacturing as we did in the past, just like we don't have as many farmers as we had in the past. But it's because our farmers are more productive than ever. Our manufacturing workers are more productive than ever. So I believe most economists would tell you, or I certainly believe, that if we can buy something more affordably from another country, that frees up resources for us to create new jobs in more productive industries here. And if we want to bring shoe factories back to Missouri, which my grandmother worked in a shoe factory outside of St. Louis in the 1930s or 40s, that factory's long gone. But a lot of Americans benefit from the ability to have affordable shoes and affordable clothing. And maybe we instead of making shoes and T-shirts, we're better off focusing on more high-tech jobs. So those are the kinds of trade-offs that I think policymakers should be thinking about.
Yeah. So what we're talking about is free markets are sometimes hard because of the seen, but the unseen are the benefits. And that's why arguing for free markets sometimes gets to be a difficult discussion. But yeah, what you're saying parallels what Steve Forbes was talking about on Thursday really, really well. So Bryan Riley from National Taxpayer Union, where do we find not only what you wrote here, but just to follow the work that you and your team does? What's the website, social media, stuff like that?
NTU.org or social media, National Taxpayers Union. And I work on trade policy, but we've done a lot of work on the One Big Beautiful Bill Act and the benefits of those tax cuts. And by the way, the Congressional Budget Office just said that the tariffs would undermine the benefits of the tax cuts that were recently passed. I wanted to get that in there, but maybe, as we get closer to that Supreme Court decision, I'd be happy to come on and see where we're at that point.
We'll definitely do it. Thanks, Bryan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, 314-912-1019. I got a lot of ground to cover here with the news dump as well just ahead.
Also, as a reminder, since we're coming up on the weekend, we still have live programming at the station. One of my personal favorites is Red State Radio with Susie Moore, which is on Sundays afternoon at 4 p.m. And to get a preview of what she'll be talking about potentially, Susie will be on with us at 7:05, so stay tuned.
This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Female millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL. For 93 years, R&R Ace Hardware in St. Clair has been your family-owned destination. We're more than hardware. Find Carhartt clothing, gifts, toys, fishing gear, and fabric all under one roof. 4 generations of small-town service with big store selection. R&R Ace Hardware in St. Clair. Worth the drive.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. I invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. You can stay connected with us to learn more about how you can get involved, make your voice heard, and contribute to our shared goals. Together, we can make a difference in the city of St. Louis and the state of Missouri. For more info, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Looking in your eyes, I see a paradise. This world that I found is too good to be true. Standing here beside you, want so much to give you this love in my heart that I'm feeling for you.
Love the music you hear on the morning show? Check out Mike's morning music playlist at newstalkstl.com.
All right, you remember which movie this was from?
I'm trying.
This is Starship, obviously.
It's like it's like a romantic comedy or something, right?
Very, very weird one.
It's like Mannequin or something?
Mannequin.
Oh, wow.
It was Mannequin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what's the weirdest
Yes.
from the era? Mannequin was weird.
I have never seen it, but based on the music video, I'm going to go ahead
Yes.
and assume it's about a guy that falls in love with the mannequin.
Yes. And the mannequin comes to life.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Turns
Okay.
into like an actual person.
Right.
And walks around.
Yes.
Talks to him.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It was in the same vein as a Mermaid or what was it? Splash.
And
I think.
and Weird Science.
And Weird
and-
Science. Yeah. Basically, it's like, hey, our fake lady from some
Yes.
other world.
Yes.
Can't wait to see the Netflix remake.
That's, yeah.
Oh, no. Don't give them ideas.
There probably was a remake, but probably not on anything that we're going to.
Oh, no.
All right. Will the Show Me State have a bigger role in the fight against illegal immigration? U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt wants that to happen. Turning Point USA picks its new leader to succeed Charlie Kirk. A little bit later on today, I really want to know what people think about that. I cannot imagine making massive career and business decisions days after your spouse is murdered.
Yeah, seriously.
I can't imagine. And as baseball season winds down, hockey season about to ramp up, and that's got Jerome psyched here. 6:52 right now. Let's dump some news on you.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They get all the news. The morning news dump.
All right, St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer welcoming the National Guard, just not as law enforcement. When asked by a KMOV reporter about the possibility of President Trump deploying Guard troops to the city, the mayor made a distinction as to what she thinks they should be used for and what they should not be used for. Here's what she had to say.
I don't believe the National Guard should be involved in fighting crime, but where the National Guard has been helpful to the city of St. Louis in the past is in debris removal. They were very, very helpful in providing leadership at the drop sites for debris throughout our community.
And of course, Governor Kehoe, as we told you yesterday, has no plans to activate the National Guard for law enforcement anywhere in the state. President Trump has not made a final decision, or at least he has not announced a final decision on federalizing troops for St. Louis. I think Mayor Spencer's answer there was very solid.
It was.
I agree.
Very solid, particularly for a Democrat. Because,
Yes.
Obviously she couldn't allude to some of the things that we would be comfortable with the National Guard doing as it pertains to law enforcement. But she did make a clear distinction, and I think that we can agree at least on that distinction.
I think so too. Yep. All right. Senator Eric Schmidt wants Missouri to have a bigger role in fighting illegal immigration. At a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, he promoted the idea of using Fort Leonard Wood as a training site for ICE agents. The senator cited the large amount of land at Fort Leonard Wood and the fact that it's already being used for training military police as reasons to include the fort in ICE's operation. So in other words, they're already set up to do training for things that are law enforcement-y.
Right, exactly.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, sure does.
Okay, I'm sure we're going to come back to this at some point in the program here. As you know, ABC pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air. That's something that I think we're all a little bit giddy over.
Just cue the Simpsons soundbite.
Right. That's right. So here's the thing, is that the story has changed from yesterday to today. And honestly, I love it when people like Jimmy Kimmel get theirs.
Yes.
His ratings have been in a free fall. He's done everything to reduce his audience. I mean, he's done. I mean, it's just ridiculous. His derangement is just stupid. But here's the thing: is now we are finding out that the FCC was putting pressure on ABC. And the Trump administration was putting pressure on them because Kimmel was such a critic and because he said such stupid and frankly, sometimes dishonest things targeted at the president. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr was on Fox's The Will Cain Show to share his view on the situation and what he says is the importance of the public interest obligation.
We're going to continue to hold these broadcasters accountable to the public interest. And if broadcasters don't like that, simple solution, they can turn their license into the FCC. There's other things that we can do with it that would serve the national interest. And
okay, so the president actually went as far as to say they should lose their licenses because all they do is criticize me.
Yeah,
I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
That's basically what he said, and that's not a criteria. I think that's valid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: is like we're torn because emotionally it feels so good to see somebody like Jimmy Kimmel lose his show and lose his stuff.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, I do not want the federal government saying I'm going to decide whether what you said is good or not.
Right. We've seen what happens when the other side gets that power.
And when you attack me and you don't like me this much, then we're going to use government. So basically, it's the old mobster analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice FCC license you got here.
Mm-hmm.
Be a shame if something happened to it. Keep in mind that if you point out, well, look what MSNBC does. Those are cable. They're not regulated by the FCC. FCC has no authority over any of those.
I don't like relying on slippery slope arguments, but we do allow people that are factually wrong but disagree with us to call in and to expose how dumb they are. So would there come a point where it's like, hey, you keep letting people spouting wrong things, we have to shut your show down because you're platforming?
I'm more worried about the Democrats winning control and then going on a tirade to purge conservative media, which dominates talk radio. I mean, you can talk about NPR all you want. Almost nobody listens to it. Just the fact of the matter.
Yeah, really.
I mean, that's demonstrably true.
Yes.
So they would go after us. And so I don't want government to have that power to be the ones who are the arbiter of what's good or bad or even true or untrue. I mean, there are lines that we even agree on as far as, advocating violence and things like that. But as far as you don't like me, therefore I don't like you. Yeah, that's not, we don't do that.
Yeah, the tit for tat stuff is not going to go well.
Okay, Turning Point USA picks Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, to lead the organization after his assassination last week. The board unanimously chose her to be the CEO and chair of the board. We're going to talk to Susie more about that here in just a few minutes. Memorial service for Charlie Kirk is Sunday at State Farm Stadium in Arizona. That's going to be broadcast on some conservative outlets, and we'll tell you how to watch it directly as well. We're going to talk about that a little bit more in the 7 o'clock hour as well. The Blues have their first preseason games this weekend, starting tomorrow. They're going to be in Dallas to play the Stars in an exhibition, which means absolutely nothing, and everybody's going to be skating about 5 miles an hour.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here, Serenity Wealth Management. Join us for a great conversation this Sunday, News Talk STL, 9 a.m. with Sarah and Jameson of Fast Lane Classic Cars. We'll talk about cars, we'll talk about community, and we are going to have a great conversation. So tune in this Sunday, 9 a.m., News Talk STL or Serenity Wealth Now, social media outlets.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Craving the freshest in town? Anthony's Produce is your daily destination for nature's finest. For 28 years, we've been your trusted supplier for everything seasonal. It's homegrown apple season. Choose from many local varieties. Grab some caramel dip or try our made-in-house gourmet caramel apples. Fall decorating? We've got Hardy Mums, corn stalks, straw bales, pumpkins, gourds, Indian corn, and jumbo specialty pumpkins. Perfect for carving or pies. Plus seasoned firewood available for pickup or delivery. Open Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6:30 and Sundays, 8 to 5 on Jungerman Road or at anthonysproduce.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at
NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Fed up with Democrat delays, tactics denying the president his personnel choices, Senate Republicans have confirmed 48 Trump nominees in a single block vote.
Republicans acted for the first time under new rules to clear a backlog of executive branch positions that had been delayed by Democrats.
On this vote, the yeas are 51 and the nays are 47, and the nominations en bloc are confirmed.
Senate Republicans moved last week to make it easier to confirm large groups of lower-level, non-judicial nominations. The new Senate rules allow Senate Republicans to move multiple nominees with a simple majority vote. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The president shedding no tears over the suspension of an ABC TV personality.
Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk.
Mr. Trump says this is no free speech issue, and citing horrible ratings, the president says NBC's late-night hosts Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers ought to meet the same fate as Kimmel. The York County, Pennsylvania district attorney says a stalker armed with a rifle was hiding inside his ex-girlfriend's home Wednesday afternoon when police showed up to arrest him.
They decided that they were going to go in. The door was open, and upon immediately opening the door, the actor repeatedly fired at the officers with multiple rounds from an AR-15 styled rifle with a suppressor.
York County DA Tim Barker says 3 officers were killed, 2 others wounded. The gunman was later shot dead by police. And Barker says the gunman was alone in the house at the time of the attack. On Wall Street, stock futures have been mixed this morning. The Dow future is up 4 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need, along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Julie, and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. The overnight rain has fizzled out, and just expect either a spot shower, otherwise mostly cloudy for that drive into work today. Temperatures warming into the mid-80s this afternoon, and a little bit of redevelopment of isolated showers and thunderstorms is possible by the afternoon. This is expected to fade with the setting sun, keeping the rain chances through the weekend. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
When precision matters, trust the experts who live and breathe firearms. Full Circle Reloading and Firearms. Veteran-owned and operated by competitive shooters who know what it takes to win. From reloading supplies and accessories to custom rifles and cutting-edge night vision, we've got everything you need. Plus, get precision rifle training from the pros. Full Circle Reloading and Firearms. 923 South 5th Street in St. Charles, or visit FullCircleReloading.com.
Mike Ferguson,
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Phifer,
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now. Believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
Okay, this has been a really emotional week.
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of different ways here. So let's review it, kind of make peace with it as much as we can, and then head into the weekend, because I got a feeling we're going to have another emotional week next weekend. So let's just kind of assess things and go,
yeah,
okay.
Take a breath.
Yeah. It is 7:05 right now. We are now joined by Susie Moore from RedState, RedState.com. Susie, let me start with kind of tapping into both your media and your legal eagle expertise here. Tyler Robinson, the prosecution of him, the man who, we all know now murdered Charlie Kirk. Man, there's a lot of pressure on local and state officials from the demand and from the, our desire to get this guy, throw the worst punishment at him, throw the book at him. What kind of things do the attorneys involved, the prosecutors, have to keep in mind when there's such a public demand, one, for all sorts of information, and two, anything that could possibly get in the way of actually prosecuting him? Because I would rather, in my lack of knowledge about criminal law and prosecution, I would rather be mad at them and they get justice than for me to be, satisfied with the transparency for stuff like what we do on the air here, and then something go wrong and this guy doesn't get the maximum punishment. So what are some of the dynamics people should be wary of, or at least aware of in something like this?
Yeah, Mike, that's a really good question. And as somebody who did not practice criminal law myself, aside from like traffic tickets, I don't have a lot of, behind the scenes insight into, what their policies are as far as what they can and can't share. I mean, obviously we've seen over and over again with criminal cases where they'll come out and do a press conference and they'll, announce details about what the person's being charged with. The indictments, or in this case, criminal information, are made public. So a lot of the information is put out there. They're really, I'm sure that there are some things that they don't, for strategic purposes, share with the public, but their focus is going to be just on putting together the pieces of the evidence that they're going to need to make their case, and whether some of that information is public or not. I think that they're going to be mindful of that. I don't think this is a situation where they're like having to walk a tightrope or anything like that. In this case, the evidence appears to be pretty overwhelming.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is going to be one of those cases that is kind of complicated by, well, we don't have this piece of evidence. We're not sure about this. There's a lot of questions. I mean, I think that the Luigi Mangione case is actually maybe a little bit trickier because that was one where, it's pretty evident that he's the one who did it. But remember, there was a manhunt for 7 days, and his face was like never seen on camera. He was always kind of carefully hidden, and so it seemed to me like there was a little bit more questions in relation to that case, even though it's pretty clear he's the culprit.
Yeah, and what the interesting, of course, this got swallowed up by other things in the news all this week. But a couple of the charges against Luigi Mangione were actually dropped, like the terrorism charges on that. Now, that doesn't mean that he's, that he's at risk of getting us scot-free. I guess something could go wrong in anything. But what do you make? Was that a matter of something was overcharged, or that we talk about a leverage situation? What do you make of that?
To be honest, my take on that is that's a wackadoo judge. So that's the state in this. So there are both state court and federal court cases proceeding against Luigi Mangione. And in the state court case, the judge dismissed the terrorism charges, but his rationale for it was really weird, because it's like, well, this doesn't really meet the definition of terrorism because he was just trying to send a message. He wasn't trying to intimidate. And I was like, if you're trying to send a message with a bullet, I feel like that's intimidating and designed to provoke terror in people. It's just, to me, it was just a judge, I don't know, making a weird decision, but it's not going to, in the long run, really make a difference, I think, in terms of, what he ultimately gets held responsible for and any jail time he receives.
Good morning, Susie. Gabe here. Just changing gears a little bit. Jimmy Kimmel got pulled off the air recently by the FCC.
Mm-hmm.
Now, originally, we thought this was a market decision, but come to find out, the FCC did actually have a hand in it.
Or at least hint, at least put pressure.
Yeah, they kind of leaned on him a little bit. Maybe there was an email. Is there concern that the government and the administration may have wrongly added to the pressure to get rid of him?
Well, there's always a concern if you've got the government getting involved in a decision. Now, my understanding, and I maybe missed something, that's come out more since then. I know Brendan Carr issued a statement before the announcement was made that was very heavily leaning on them. I'm not really a big fan of the way he approached that. But my understanding is, this wasn't an FCC decision. It was an affiliate decision and a market decision by the network after receiving the blowback from their affiliates saying, we're not going to put this on the air. Now, again, I think you can look at, well, was the FCC, getting ahead of this, and being too much ahead of this? Maybe. But the other thing to remember is, you're talking about the public airwaves in a sort of a unique space that is governed by FCC regulations. Matt Taibbi, I thought, had a really good breakdown on it, and he, of course, is very much a free speech adherent, and certainly not someone of the right. But his take on it was, look, in the long run, this was going to happen one way or the other. It's apparent for a number of reasons. Kimmel doesn't appear like he was willing to apologize or address it in a way that wasn't going to create more headaches for ABC and Disney. The numbers weren't really in his favor as far as it being a profitable enterprise, that sort of thing. It would have been probably preferable if there wasn't this muddiness because of the FCC statement right in front of it.
We're visiting with Susie Moore from RedState.com. Of course, this weekend, we've got the funeral of Charlie Kirk. It's going to be happening on Sunday. I want to get to that in just a minute. Turning Point USA selecting Erica Kirk to lead the organization. That happened very quickly, unanimously. Looks like there's from according to TPUSA, they're saying there's no question this is who we want to take the helm, succeeding Charlie Kirk. from a personal standpoint, I can't imagine making major business and career decisions at a time like this. So, she's obviously got some strength that I don't know that I would have to do that. But what do you make of Turning Point USA's decision to say, we're united? Erica Kirk is the next leader. I really don't know that much about her, but what do you see in her assuming that role?
Well, I'm very much like you. I didn't know anything about Erica Kirk. I didn't even know her name before Charlie was assassinated. I didn't, I didn't have a personal relationship with Charlie. I obviously was familiar with him, kind of run the same circles, if you will. But I didn't follow him that closely. I didn't follow his work that closely. And I didn't, I kind of vaguely knew he was married and maybe had a child or two, but I didn't know all the specifics. So I don't have any background. All of my knowledge of Erica comes from what I've seen since his murder. She has been, well, first of all, how can your heart not break when you think about what she's dealing with and, two babies and trying to deal with this tremendous grief. She's a young woman herself. But, I thought that her statement that she made last Friday night was, showed a lot of strength and determination. It sounds like, from what I understand, Charlie had himself said, if anything ever happens to me, I want Erica to be the one to step in. And it doesn't sound like anybody disagrees with that. How she's going to do all this and work through her grief. The only thing, obviously she's got her faith, which is clearly very strong. And it seems as though she's got a very good support system. And maybe it's one of those situations where she feels like, look, this is going to be the best way for me to channel my grief and, focus on, kind of carrying on his legacy. So I guess we'll see, how that develops. I don't know from a personality standpoint or, what she's really like. And obviously she's not Charlie, but it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves.
And she's going to be speaking at the memorial service, which I am guessing they are going to fill that football stadium. We're going to talk about this in more depth in the 720 segment here. But what is your take on the massive reaction? There are people traveling from around the country to attend a memorial service in Arizona of somebody they never met personally. That speaks to what an impact Charlie Kirk is leaving behind. And like you, I didn't really follow him that closely, and I didn't agree with him on everything. I always recognized his skill set, and I was glad somebody was taking conservatism to, younger voters. But when you see the massive reaction to what's happening, and you see a huge football stadium, an NFL football stadium that's likely going to be filled with people for a memorial service, what does that say? Maybe not just even about the politics or the ideology of it, but where we are in this country right now.
Well, I think it says that this has impacted us in ways that many of us couldn't have even begun to foresee. When the news first hit, of course, it was shocking. We were focused on just trying to get the news out and, cover it all. And of course, people, we at RedState were, pretty familiar with Charlie overall, and telling people initially, I had dinner plans that night, and I had to tell a friend, I don't think I can make it. I think I need to stay close. Here's what happened. At that point, she didn't have any idea who he was. Well, she has an idea who he is now. It's like everybody knows who he is now. And I wrote this in an article yesterday. I said, if his murder was an earthquake, then the reaction to it has been the tsunami. And I just think that this struck people on a visceral level, not just because it was such a horrific thing, but because there's all this symbolism kind of wrapped up in it. And then people's reaction to it is sort of just amplifying the divide that we see, and the fact that you've got, people basically living in two separate realities and working with two separate fact sets and reaching two very different conclusions, and then assuming that that's because the other people are evil or stupid. And it's hard to watch happen. I'm happy to see the number of people that seem inspired by what they've learned about Charlie and are, kind of turning back into leaning into their faith more. It does seem like it's having a positive effect in that respect. I'm really disheartened to see the just flat out hatred and vitriol that we're seeing from some quarters.
Yeah. All right, Susie, any tips on what's coming up on Red State Radio this week?
Just that it's going to be there. Still working on putting that one all together, but I'm sure that we'll be talking about Charlie again. There's no way that hasn't been the biggest story for the past 10 days. So that will definitely be the focus.
All right, Susie Moore, we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Susie.
Thanks, Frank. Have a great day.
In addition to Red State Radio, don't forget the Randy Tobler Show is also a major big deal. Saturday mornings from 6 to 9, basically hour slot, but on Saturdays. Jerome is hosting this week, so as you get some extra Jerome in your life. So
the guy running the board is like,
yeah, everybody loves me. That's right, because we do. All right, be sure to tune in 6 to 9 on Saturday.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I like it, but they're going a little overboard with the dancing.
On News Talk STL.
On the next.
Larry Connors, USA.
The left is more troubled, angry with the firing of Jimmy Kimmel than the killing of Charlie Kirk.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Fall is blazing into Warrenton, Missouri. September 20th on Main Street. The free festival that's got it all. Inflatables, petting zoo, barrel train, mini golf, bungee trampolines, all free. Local bands rock the East Stage. And the real fire starter.
Hi, this is Jody Messina.
Jody Messina live on the main stage at 7:30. Grab your crew, bring your family, great food, cold drinks, and memories you'll never forget. Warrenton's Fall Festival, September 20th on Main Street.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colonies.
Sweet, I'll bring my 500 cousins. This will be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 636-486-7888.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
SR1 Sundays.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Kaiser. Be sure and check out my show, Straight Lines, this and every Sunday at 8 p.m., right after Stand and Fight, part of SR1 Sundays. Let's meet right here and let's peel back some layers of this crazy world, and you might be surprised at what we find. Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on SR1 Sundays at 8 p.m., right here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser on News Talk STL.
This December 13th, join Wreaths Across America at Belle Reve Gardens Cemetery as we remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the value of freedom. Help us lay remembrance wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes. Sponsor a wreath, volunteer, or bring your family to this meaningful tribute to our veterans, because every hero deserves to be remembered. Learn more and sponsor a wreath. Visit newstalkstl.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you'll be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL. The 80s. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Come along with the snorks. Swim along with the snorks. So much to see waiting for you and me. Have some fun with the snorks.
Hi, this is Susie Moore. Check out my show, Red State Radio, Sunday afternoon at 4, right here on News Talk STL. Now it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Do you remember the Snorks?
Yeah,
Mike?
I do remember that.
Yeah, they were the underwater Smurfs.
Yeah.
That's how I remember
I never
them.
got into that one. Of course, I was getting to be a little bit older of a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember that.
I watched Saturday morning cartoons until there were no more Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
Like I knew I was too old for the shows that were coming on Saturday morning cartoons, but I couldn't let it go because I knew it was going away. I don't know how I knew, but I knew Saturday morning cartoons were going to go the way of the dinosaur. So I watched every one of the sometimes insipid shows that they would put on there.
Somebody went deep into the woods with that request. That was deep into the weeds. Yeah, man.
But the Snorks were they were a thing for a bit.
No,
they were the underwater Smurfs. Now again. Can't wait for the Netflix remake of their using CGI.
But okay, so before we get to the little more heavy thing here about Charlie Kirk's funeral, the thing wasn't, and I don't think that, my guess is, Jerome, your generation is probably you were robbed of this. Saturday mornings, you got up early because your cartoons were on at this time and this time and this time, and you got your bowl of cereal and your toast or whatever, and you sat down and because that's when it was on, and if you didn't see it, you missed it.
Right.
And there weren't any reruns until later, in the year, but there was no YouTube, there was no, you didn't go, no DVDs, you can go get them.
The kids at school on Monday were going to be talking about it.
It was
and you need to know.
appointment watching.
Yes.
It was, you made appointments with your TV.
So it's one of those like distant childhood memories where I can't really explain how old I would have had to have been. But my cousin and I, we used to do that exact. We got that very last tail end of it. You got up a little early. The Stooges were on, and then a little bit of morning cartoons. Then my aunt would wake up and say, "Hey, it's time for you guys to do something more productive with the day." But for those few minutes, it was amazing.
Because even with my kids, who were both born in the 90s, they had their favorite shows, but we just played the VHS and just watched. I mean, if it happened to be on live or happened to be on at the time, great. But they would watch their favorite VHS tapes over and over and over again, and that's so they could watch whenever they wanted.
Yeah, and we weren't particularly worried about missing the portion of TV dedicated to children because there were entire networks dedicated to, like the Cartoon Network. So it's
now,
yeah. So even in the 90s, I think Cartoon Network came out late 90s. So yeah, it was very much a
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, Nickelodeon had Nick Cartoons, I think, and they had like a spin-off. So yeah, the Saturday morning cartoon era was exclusive to the 80s.
It was great. And it was like, it was cartoons like the Looney Tunes from the 50s and 60s, which still hold up.
Oh yeah, they would throw those in. Oh
those
man.
were great.
I missed those.
Okay, so Charlie Kirk's funeral is going to be Sunday.
Yeah.
So let's go over some of the basics real quick here. So Gabe and I both have kind of the rundown of this. Are you going to watch? Let me know. 314-912-1019 or send us a note on social media here. So this is going to happen at State Farm Stadium in Arizona. I guess that's technically Tempe. I don't think it's Phoenix. I think it's Tempe.
Yeah.
But again, this is where the Arizona Cardinals play football. So we're talking about an NFL stadium that seats 70 some odd thousand, if not more,
probably.
And I suspect that what's going to happen is where the stage area is, everything behind that is probably going to be covered. The rest of the seating is going to be full, and then there will be seating on the field as well. The president is going to be there. The vice president is going to be there. Secretary of State Rubio is going to be there. Erica Kirk is going to speak there as well. So this is going to happen. The actual time, what's on that list there? Okay, 11 a.m. Is that Mountain Time, I guess, over there?
In Arizona, I think that's
Pacific time.
I think that's Mountain.
Yeah. So it's basically 2 hours behind us. So the doors to the stadium are going to open at 8 a.m. My guess is that people will start getting in line probably Saturday night. And I'm not joking. I think that's going to happen. The Secret Service is overseeing the security.
Okay.
This is going to be what they're describing as Super Bowl level security. My guess is it's going to be more than that. It's going to be Super Bowl plus presidential appearance level security.
Right.
Are you worried about something happening there?
Kinda.
I kind of am too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, considering again the reaction from certain leftists to the news, like immediately. Considering the defacement of various memorials around the country, which is still happening.
Right.
I just caught a video
and they don't
things.
care if the cameras are on them.
They don't
care. It's a badge of honor.
Yeah, they're losing their jobs and whatnot for these things. But Yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried something might happen, but hopefully the security will be. I mean, because it's going to be presidential plus security. I'm hoping it's going to be up to snuff. But we saw how that worked out too.
So here's how to watch it. I suspect that some of the conservative streaming channels are going to be airing it. I'm not going to mention it because I haven't seen their announcements yet on it.
Although I do see here in our little show prep here, Kirk's Rumble account in particular, the Charlie Kirk Rumble account is going to be live streaming. Now this says at 11 a.m. Eastern.
So 10 o'clock our time.
So 10 o'clock our time.
On Sunday. So 10 o'clock our time, you can look up Charlie Kirk's Rumble account.
Yeah.
And they're going to be live streaming that. So that's going to be probably the primary feed.
Yeah.
Basically, if any other streaming or cable companies take it, they're probably going to take it from that.
Yeah, I would think so. I kind of did a quick perusal of the internet. It's like, hey, where can I watch this? And most of even like local affiliates are saying they're going to have it on their live stream or their app or what have you. So there's going to be many ways for you to check it out.
Okay, so a couple minutes here. What do you hope for with this event? I mean, what do you hope that it will include or accomplish?
Well, I mean, typically, I'm just thinking of the memorial proceedings or funeral proceedings for any Christian that I know of, and it's a celebration of a person's life, the impacts that they had on people while they were alive, and a celebration of the fact that they're now with the Lord. Those are the kind of the main elements that I can think of just for any Christian funeral. Now, because this is Kirk, I think that impact portion, how this person affected others and the world, I think is going to be the bigger of all of those.
And my hope is that it's also motivational for people to take on at least the image of Charlie Kirk's life as far as faith and family and focus on things like that. And at least for some degree, some sort of movement into that familial values.
Yes.
Sort of movement. So that's thing even more so, because I think a lot of people are saying we hope this unifies the conservative movement, the freedom movement. Okay. Yes. I mean, yeah, but what are we conserving? What are we fighting to conserve?
Right.
What are we losing that we're trying to win back? And those go back beyond RD, right, left, anything like that. Those go back to the fundamental human value. So my guess is they're probably going to do a good job of that.
Oh yeah. I should think so.
And so, what are your concerns and fears? And we're going to go about 1 minute over, just so you know, Jerome. So
yeah, I'm thinking what's the possibility is there for this to be a call to a bad sort of action.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about. Somebody might get up on stage. They're really fired up. They're really mad about losing their friend or what have you. And it can get ugly.
Yeah,
it could get. Now, I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think
just because of the nature, I think, of Charlie's life, which is very, very focused on a Christ-centered, peaceful life
and
positive engagement and things like that, trying to unify the nation. So I don't think they're going to disrespect them that way. But the possibility is there. The possibility is there that to happen in the orbit of this. Also, I could imagine somebody live streaming the live stream, as you say, and commenting on it, doing one of those, and it turning into something of a debacle.
My biggest worry is that there's some sort of violence, some sort of a leftist attack.
Now that is
or
the
disruption from within the stadium. That's my concern. On that. The security is going to be incredibly tight. If they can possibly vet it out, they will. But that's my worry.
Yeah. But coming up on Not Today, Satan, lessons in bad parenting.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. The overnight rain has fizzled out, and just expect either a spot shower Otherwise, mostly cloudy for that drive into work today. Temperatures warming into the mid-80s this afternoon, and a little bit of redevelopment of isolated showers and thunderstorms is possible by the afternoon. This is expected to fade with the setting sun, keeping the rain chances through the weekend. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
JC's Wayback Machine.
This week, we'll reminisce about playing catch with Robert Redford every day for about 2 weeks on the set of The Natural. Plus, Lou Graham talks foreigner songs he hates. Desperate housewife Terry Hatcher talks about her boobs. We'll take you back to 1989 when the Stones played Busch Stadium, and we play great songs from the 90s, 80s, and 70s, all brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9 on News Talk STL. Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Most nations have folk heroes. They might be real or fictitious. They might be honorable, law-abiding, or be flawed, yet still praised. One example, Robin Hood, an English bandit who robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. Folk hero. Now, the legacy media and those who hate Kirk and Trump are trying to portray the man charged with assassinating Charlie Kirk as a folk hero. You cannot make this stuff up. Former TV show host Montel Williams claiming the 22-year-old accused killer is just a love-torn child. He's 22, not 10. Anyway, Montel and those who glob onto such thinking says this kid was probably in his first real relationship. Montel suggesting that since Kirk was a Bible-based Christian, that the accused killer saw Kirk preaching hate against the person he loved. You see what is happening? And it will accelerate. This killer will be praised and celebrated. That's the leftist definition of folk hero. It's fiction, dark fiction.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
In all these years that Wellington Environmental has been my sponsor, I've never mentioned their duct cleaning services. Allergy season is here, and Wellington crews clean air ducts daily in homes and commercial buildings, also cleaning air handling units and diffusers in commercial facilities. Why? Well, because people will see black dirt and mold on the vents, or they are actually suffering from allergies. Don't be fooled by low-cost duct cleaning providers saying they charge only per vent, because once they get on site, the price will skyrocket. Wellington does not do this, never has. Wellington will give you an estimate, and you say Larry Connors, and immediately you get a 20% discount. Call Cindy, 314-644-4930, 314-644-4930. Make your home and business better, safer with Wellington. Be well with Wellington.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
The news and talk.
Mr. President, do not come to Chicago.
That matters to St. Louis.
Good morning, Democrats.
Mondani, this is a guy who wanted to defund the police just not a few weeks ago.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. The 80s.
Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where are the dates?
It's Flashback Friday.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
I love this guitar part.
The rock out part.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, favorite character on the A-Team?
Of course, it's B.A. Baracus.
Gotta be B.A. Baracus.
Come on.
Yes, gotta be.
Although I gotta say,
Murdoch was pretty funny.
Murdoch was a wild card,
Yeah.
and you never really knew what was going to come out of his mouth, and that was kind of the fun.
That was a lot of the fun, and the tension between him and B.A. Baracus.
Oh, yeah,
that was there. Yep. Have you ever seen the A-Team?
The original.
Here's the thing: is somebody you're going to look at that and go, "What was wrong with you people?" This show was so much fun.
Yes, absolutely.
So to my knowledge, it was basically they kept getting. I mean, it's an ex-mercenary elite special ops team that was disavowed, and then they keep getting stuck in like different situations, and they MacGyver things together to then solve the problem.
It was long before MacGyver.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But it's essentially the same thing. Hey, let's trap them into this room full of things that they could use to destroy us.
Yes.
and give them several hours to build it.
Oh
yes,
my goodness,
was
love that.
basically
On this Flashback Friday with TV and movie themes. So thanks for these suggestions.
I
here.
love the A-Team.
7:38 right now. Okay, guys, before we get to the next topic here, there's something going on. There's a protest that's happening here in town. We've got a reporter roving out here on this. I want to go to the scene for a live report, and this live report is totally not an AI generated thing that I totally saw on the internet and took off there. So let's go ahead and contact with our reporter, who is completely not an AI thing that I found on the internet. What is going on out there?
Let's see what the Trantifa protesters of America have to say. We are here to fight fascism by silencing anyone who disagrees with us. Free speech is for people who agree with us.
We have fentanyl coming across the border and gang violence in Democrat-run cities, so obviously the main issue we should focus on is Palestine.
Free Palestine. Honestly, Hamas just doesn't understand us yet. I know that once we teach Hamas there are 84 genders, they'll join our cause too.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, roving reporter, who was absolutely not Bigfoot on the internet that I saw in an AI generated video. Totally not that.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That is freaking hilarious.
I mean, it's like the Nazis used to say, defend free speech, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like Hitler used to say. Yeah. By the way, Janet has texted me that Hannibal was her favorite.
Yeah, he was the boss.
He was the boss.
He was the leader.
I think it's the cigars, and he loves it when a plan comes together. Yep. I think that's why she likes me.
There you go. there it is. Oh, that was such a great show.
Yeah. And yeah, if only they had a Hannibal on the left. So that they can have a great plan that comes together, because I don't think he had the weirdest plans, but they actually worked.
Yes. And there was always something that created a crisis in the plan,
right? Yes.
And they had to overcome it.
Yes. The plan meets the enemy and it falls apart, and then he kind of again MacGyver's
you remember
his way out.
what B.A. Baracus's Achilles heel was? What was his one huge weakness?
He hated to fly.
He was scared to death of flying.
Couldn't do it.
And Murdoch was just crazy.
Yes, and also the pilot for the group.
Yes. And then there was Face.
Yes, Face, man.
It was the good-looking guy who was like the bait for everybody, sort of thing.
Basically the male honeypot for the team.
Yes.
Okay, you've convinced me to go check out the 80s.
It is the one thing about the 80s is there were fantastic characters.
Yes. And I think that's what made all of it.
Yeah. And then when the characters weren't there, they just moved on to something else. But that was so much. Did you have the Hot Wheels version of the A-Team van?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. With the black and the red stripe.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
I love that thing.
Oh man.
What would a protest look like if it was planned by the A-Team?
Oh, you wouldn't see them until the very last second. And then you were like, why can't I speak in my microphones? And wait a minute, why did the stage fall down and suddenly it's become my trap?
That van looks like a tank now.
You just have muffled chanting from some room in the distance, and all of a sudden they would just bust out.
Yeah, that's right.
What are they saying in there? Oh no.
And then go get them who did this. Wait a minute, where did they go? Well, because
exactly.
the government's chasing them too. That's the funny part, because they were the good guys, partly because the government framed them and was chasing them.
Yes, absolutely. We had a very was an outlaw streak going through a lot of our media, like even like the Dukes of Hazzard, they were the outlaws, because the law was bad. Essentially, the law was corrupt. So yeah.
Boss Hog,
man.
Yeah, man.
My dad thought Boss Hog.
All
was
right.
hilarious.
Thank you to everybody who came out to the Steve Forbes event last night at Lindenwood University. Hundreds of people were out there. It was. I'm actually, if you're watching this on the stream or on the TV broadcast, I got my autograph picture here. And funny because I'm not really an autograph collector. but I definitely wanted this.
You so fanboyed out.
I kind of did a little bit.
I think so.
I kind of did because, I really do. I really enjoy his podcast. I get a lot out of it. And I think that was the really good thing about this last night. And if you want to see pictures of it, go to our website, newstalkstl.com, go to our social media. We've got some pictures out there from the event last night. And I was sitting next to him, and he mentioned, he goes, he's got a much better sense of humor than I expected, from somebody who's in policy and economics.
Oh yeah.
And Forbes, I didn't time how long his speech was, but it was probably, at least a half an hour, if not 40 minutes. And he covered a lot of different topics, and it was all very free markets focused and solution oriented. Like, he really focused on the problems, but also on the solution. But the thing is, he also talked about the incentives and even the morality,
right?
Which if you are truly a free market evangelist, it's usually because you understand the morality of freedom. And I got that from him quite a bit last night.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those aspects are really important, because I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of a free market system. They usually use capitalism as a shorthand for free market economics, which is somewhat correct. True capitalism is free market.
Milton Friedman kind of capitalism.
Right.
Yes.
And there's this, a misunderstanding of what that is.
Yeah. Crony capitalism is not capitalism.
Right. And then of course there's a misinterpretation of the concept of incentives. It's like, well, you just want to be rich. It's like, well, that may not necessarily be the bad thing in the equation.
And he actually talked about that for a minute last night.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, I love it when people actually, have an opportunity to hear the reality behind these concepts and these ideas that get thrown around in the public a lot and are vastly misunderstood.
Yeah. And, it was enjoyable. I mean, he's not a yelling and screaming and, eccentric preacher type of speaker. He's, very matter of fact, very good sense of humor. But the thing is that I don't think anybody lost their focus. I mean, you didn't get bored, even though he was a very direct speaker.
Right.
So it was a great event. I love the fact that we got to be involved in something that frankly said, we're going to think. We're going to enjoy being challenged and thinking. And I guarantee you that everybody who left, whether they agreed or disagreed, had something to think about, and they have something more to consider when they're watching what's happening in the news. So basically, I love it when a plan comes together.
We got to leave it there.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A cross between Socrates and Dirty Harry.
On News Talk STL.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show. I am here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, entrepreneurship, it's one of those buzzwords we hear a lot about, but is entrepreneurship really important to the economy?
It definitely is. Entrepreneurship is a consistent contributor to economic growth. It creates new products and services that people value. It creates the new businesses that provide them. It fosters innovation that improves productivity, and it increases beneficial competition. It generates jobs, income, wealth mobility, and even tax revenues that all support and enhance communities. Entrepreneurship matters, so we need to help it thrive in all our communities.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Is your retirement income at risk if you or your spouse needs nursing home or in-home care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. The cost of long-term care is one of the biggest risks in retirement planning. For many retirees, a single nursing home stay can cause a significant reduction in assets that can permanently reduce your retirement income. Fortunately, there are affordable and flexible options available today that can help you manage the cost of long-term care. Our team can help you address the risks relevant to your retirement, including long-term care. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Located in the heart of St. Charles, Kevin's Guns is your family-owned destination for all things firearms. Whether you're a collector, hunter, or military enthusiast, we have it or can get it for you. From new to used rifles and handguns in every style and caliber, our friendly and knowledgeable staff is here to help educate you and ensure you make the perfect choice for your needs. Buy, sell, or browse our incredible selection at kevinsguns.net or call 636-493-1195. Kevin's Guns, where gun enthusiasts come home.
This is Tony Colombo, and my favorite Capriati sandwich is the cheesesteak made with American Wagyu beef from Snake River Farms, and you have to include a side of their amazing fries. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
Open 9 to 9 daily on Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me for the Right Mind Show on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this wacky radio station. You know, and speaking of wacky, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Definitely 80s here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this was in a movie, but definitely 80s. This was really the song that kind of launched Madonna into the stratosphere. It wasn't her first hit, but it was the one that really launched her into that next level.
Yeah, that one was a special request from our good friend Franco.
Okay.
So hopefully, yeah, I'll break the theme for them. Because
for that, yeah. I actually ran into him last night. I saw him at the Steve Forbes event last night. Yeah. All right, good. Man, great request. I love these. Are having a lot of fun here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It is almost 7:50 on a Friday. You know what that means.
It's the weird, the wacky, and the worrisome. These are the stories that make you say...
Look all the devil. Oh, hell no. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening. Devil.
Somewhere to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
Amen. A California home was broken into and had its snacks raided by a hungry bear.
I knew you were going to a bear on that one.
It was good. Yeah, when the house is raided for snacks,
yes,
typically bear.
Yeah.
When the house is has an intruder, something creepy crawly.
Yes.
Right. See, you
knew that was coming.
You're
these. I gotta tell you, these bears are getting a little uppity.
They really are.
Yeah.
They think we moved into their house. Yeah. I think, and they're just kind of rolling through. It's just like, hey, I own this stuff. Bridget Conley said she started getting alerts from the security cameras at her Pine Mountain Club home, located in the Los Padres National Forest in Kern County. I think that's your first indication. You live in a place that's called National Forest.
Yeah.
He's like, does a bear do something or other in the forest?
Yes, he does.
Yes. He raids your snacks in the forest.
But before he does that, before he does that, the snacks.
He needs the snacks to get it. So it's about 6:15 a.m. on a Friday. No one was home at the time, and so she was getting all these alerts. There was movement. Conley said the bear kicked open the door. I can almost see it. It's like the police on a raid. It's just Yogi Bear just coming in. It's like for a search.
Yeah,
he does have the hat. Now Conley said the bear kicked open the door and spent about an hour going in and out of the house. Once he broke in, he would go in, ransack, and pick something that he wanted to eat, come back outside to eat it, and then go back in. Conley said.
Jeez.
So he was taking a sweet time.
No
too.
Kidding, he was.
He was like, he wanted to eat in nature also.
He must have thought this was like an Airbnb or something like that.
He's like, I prefer to have my snacks on the porch.
Yes, it's a lovely day.
Airbnb.
That's right.
In all, the bear feasted on a container of sugar, like a whole container of sugar, the dog food, potato chips, and while he took a bottle of Worcestershire sauce, perhaps thinking it was syrup or something like that, he threw that down later.
So did he steal some Pepto-Bismol after all that diet?
He did not like that. Now you'd think he would have gotten something to wash it down too. But Conley joked, not everything in the kitchen was ransacked. He left the vodka. So at least we know he wasn't a Russian bear. So it's not a foreign spy. All right. In our second story here, a Colorado woman thinks she's cracked the code on parenting.
Oh,
yeah. The key.
Okay.
The key is drugs.
Oh, God. Oh, where's this going to go?
Okay, so after her first experience with magic mushrooms on a camping trip with friends, single mother of one, I'm not surprised.
Imagine that.
I'm not surprised. Tracy T has been microdosing psilocybin, which is the psychedelic chemical found in magic mushrooms. Now, describing the experience to local news, Tracy says, quote, I guess relief might be one word that everyone could universally understand. The is in there. It's in the quote, by the way. I didn't add that. That's how she talks. Your mood might change to a place where you feel more stable and more like in a place of stasis.
What?
Yes. Stasis. After that first experience, she joined the online community Moms on Mushrooms. So there are more. There are more of these people.
So basically 15 years from now, it's like whoever the kid is. So how did you become so weird? Let me tell you about my mom.
Exactly. They're sitting in therapy talking about their mushroom addiction. According to Tracy, the drugs aren't a way of escaping the pressures of parenthood. Quote, that's not what microdosing is. Microdosing is mommy is present and aware and showing up, maybe for the first time ever.
Wait a minute. Isn't this the drug that makes you see things?
Yes.
So, I mean, is this like mommy inviting friends over?
Mommy's got imaginary friends too. Let's have a tea party.
I mean, that's what this is, right?
Yes. The magic mushrooms are psychedelics aren't just a calming. Not just a downer or anything like that, or even an upper. They make you see things. They're hallucinogens. They're hallucinogens. They make your brain not perceive reality properly. So I can't imagine that even microdosing is probably the way to go.
So we've gotten to a point where it's like, I'm a single parent and I'm going to brag about being a single parent on drugs. Let me go talk about that on the internet.
Yes. With other people who are also on drugs, probably single parenting.
And if not yet.
Matter of time. All right. Here in our last story, in other bad parenting news, naming a child is the ultimate power trip, right? It's one of the first things we do as parents, and it comes with huge responsibility. So why would a Colombian family name their newborn daughter after the AI program ChatGPT?
No.
Oh, isn't that special?
They did. According to local media, the parents of ChatGPT, Bastidas Guerrera, said they chose the name as a tribute to the era of artificial intelligence.
Wow.
So your child is a tribute to a bunch of ones and zeros. So that's beautiful. That's
Way to go.
Yeah. Good job. Good job, parents. Now, this has sparked all kinds of reactions, obviously, among social media users, as many disagree with the parents' decision. The case is not unique, though. Colombia has a history of officially registering unconventional names, as well as intervening in the past to prohibit names. Now, here are a couple of the names that they prohibited. Mi perro, which means my dog.
Which means somebody tried it.
Somebody tried it. Yeah, exactly. This was an official. You have to fill out an official document to name your kid, right? And it goes to a group here in Colombia. So somebody tried to name their child my dog, and this is the kicker, Satanias.
Oh no,
which is Satan. They tried to name their child Satan.
You nickname your child Satan when they're 2.5. You don't do it at birth.
Right.
And then again when they're 14.
This is what you say in the mommy chat group when you're not on drugs. You're just saying, oh, my little monster did this and that.
Yeah.
But you don't call them monster to their face. Now, this clearly violates the person's dignity. Now, look, whenever I hear,
Mommy, why won't anybody invite me to the birthday party sleepover? I don't know, Satan.
Now, okay, whenever I hear these crazy names, I always imagine what real life would look like.
Yeah.
It's like, quote, come and get your juice box, charcuterie.
Oh, no.
Aw, little incisor just said mama.
They did not.
Happy first birthday, Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo. These are real names.
names.
I did not make those up.
Wow.
It's just so absurd. So look, when a kid named after the devil asks for an extra dessert, you know what his parents are probably saying.
Look all the devil.
Oh, hell no. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening. Devil.
Just on the way to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today.
The weird part is if Satan asks for some angel food cake.
It's like, are you sure you would like the devil's fruit cake? It's for you. It has your name in it, child.
But what are they supposed to do if the ChatGPT child grows up to be non-binary?
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here, Serenity Wealth Management. Join us for a great conversation this Sunday, News Talk STL, 9 a.m. with Sarah and Jameson of Fast Lane Classic Cars. We'll talk about cars, we'll talk about community, and we are going to have a great conversation. So tune in this Sunday, 9 a.m., News Talk STL or Serenity Wealth Now, social media outlets.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Jamie Allman here, and I want you to hide out with me 10 minutes south of 270 in Gravois at the wonderful Hideout, the best burgers you're going to find anywhere in the land, and yet people still eat Dave's Chili right there in 90-degree temperatures. Music every day, it seems, people, on the weekends especially, and dinners and lunch served every single day of the week. The coldest beer and the best staff you're going to find, the Hideout right there in High Ridge.
For 15 years, M&M Guns and Supplies has been St. Peter's trusted family-owned firearms destination, carrying top brands like Glock, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Winchester, and more, plus Vortex and Loophole Optics. Need repairs, scope mounting, or bore sighting? They got you covered. Looking for something different? Check out their precision air rifles. They're one of the newest FX dealers in the region with a clean air fill station. M&M Guns on Salt River Road in St. Peter's or at mmguns.com.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peter's. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Rich Thomason. Insisting it is no free speech issue, President Trump is applauding the suspension of late-night TV host Jimmy Kimmel.
The president called Kimmel's suspension great news for America.
He said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk.
ABC pulled the show after pressure from Trump's FCC chairman, but the president said it wasn't a free speech issue.
You can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
Writing online, the president called for the removal of NBC's late-night hosts, Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers, citing horrible ratings. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Charlie Kirk's widow will take the helm at Turning Point USA, carrying on her late husband's legacy. Erica Kirk is a unanimous choice of Turning Point's board of directors. The board releasing a statement that reads in part, "It is our great pride to announce Erica Kirk as the new CEO and chair of the board." The announcement adds that in prior discussions, Charlie expressed to multiple executives that this is what he wanted in the event of his death. There is a new nuclear player in the volatile Middle East. Enter Pakistan. Correspondent John Gambrell says the Pakistanis have signed a mutual defense pact with Saudi Arabia.
So moving forward, this move likely will put Riyadh under Islamabad's nuclear umbrella, and that will bring new complications to the Middle East and possibly deter Israel as it continues its war in Gaza.
Part of the deal could be payback for the Saudis' reported financial support of Pakistan's nuclear ambitions. Britain's outgoing spy chief accuses Russia's Vladimir Putin of stringing the West along when it comes to his intentions for a peace deal in Ukraine. Watching Wall Street ahead of the opening bell, Dow futures up 62 points and NASDAQ futures 40 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words micro, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 micro. Pure Talk, everything you need and nothing you don't.
The Taliban has...
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. The overnight rain has fizzled out, and just expect either a spot shower, otherwise mostly cloudy for that drive into work today. Temperatures warming into the mid-80s this afternoon, and a little bit of redevelopment of isolated showers and thunderstorms is possible by the afternoon. This is expected to fade with the setting sun, keeping the rain chances through the weekend. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
What if there was a one-stop shop for all your healthcare needs and no insurance was needed? At Bell Healthcare, we make wellness simple. Optimize the patient's life. Struggling with weight loss? We offer proven programs, including GLP-1 treatments like semaglutide. Need hormone therapy? We've got personalized plans for both men and women. Nagging pain or injuries? Chiropractic and regenerative medicine are available. Ready to take control of your health? Visit bellhealthcare.net today and get optimized.
Scott, can you believe it's already been more than a decade since the Queen of Carpet sold flooring to St. Louis area contractors?
I know, but I don't have to be a king to offer contractors today's lowest prices.
Yes, contractors owe it to their customers and themselves to shop at Best Buy Flooring for the largest in-stock selection of carpet, carpet tile, sheet vinyl, laminate, hardwood, luxury vinyl plank, and luxury vinyl tile.
Plus 3 convenient locations, North County, South County, and Metro East.
Open 7 days a week.
Best flooring, best selection, Best Buy. Best Buy Flooring.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here for Newstedter's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. WowDiamonds.com. It's Wow Diamonds for a reason. These are beautiful lab-grown diamonds. They are gorgeous. They will blind you when you walk in and see them, but that's a good thing. Great engagement sets, wedding sets, all these beautiful God-created gems, sapphires, rubies, you name it, garnets, and also all the gold you need, and the famous bull of a watch. WowDiamonds.com.
Mike Ferguson.
I have you now, you muscle-bound oaf.
Gabe Phifer.
Feast your eyes on your new leader.
Get up, St. Louis. Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, a lot going on here. St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer is in the news. She's got some thoughts on what the National Guard should and should not be doing. Also, will the Show Me State have a bigger role in the fight against illegal immigration? And obviously, and we'll get into more depth on this, I think around 8:20 here, Turning Point USA. What's next? Not just for Turning Point USA. I think this is bigger than Turning Point USA. What's next for the conservative movement, at least when it comes to the youth aspect of this? Basically, who's next? In the void created by Charlie Kirk's murder, his assassination. So we'll kick that around just a little bit here. 8:06 right now. Let's go and dump some news on you.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news.
The morning news dump.
All right. St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer says she welcomes the National Guard into the city, just not as law enforcement. When asked by a KMOV reporter about the possibility of President Trump deploying Guard troops into the city, the mayor made a distinction as to what she thinks they should be used for and what they should not be used for.
I don't believe the National Guard should be involved in fighting crime, but where the National Guard has been helpful to the city of St. Louis in the past is in debris removal. They were very, very helpful in providing leadership at the drop sites for debris throughout our community.
Governor Mike Kehoe, as you know, says he has no plans to activate the Guard for law enforcement anywhere in the state. President Trump says he wants to save St. Louis by sending in the federalized troops. He has not made an announcement or made a decision on whether or not he's going to do that. Honestly, I think Mayor Spencer's answer there was very reasonable.
Yeah, it's absolutely reasonable. Now, I do think the National Guard can have a role involved in law enforcement, but not fight crime.
But it's got to be
different.
activated by the state.
And absolutely, it has to be activated by the state.
All right. Senator Eric Schmidt wants Missouri to have a bigger role in fighting illegal immigration. At a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, he promoted the idea of using Fort Leonard Wood as a training site for ICE agents. The senator cited, frankly, how big land-wise the base is and the fact that it's already set up and used for training military police as reasons to include the fort for ICE's operations. So basically, we're already set up to do training and we're already set up to do law enforcement-ish type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great way to save money because instead of the ICE building their own training facility, they just use existing ones.
Exactly. Okay. We've had something change over the last 24 hours here regarding the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing.
Yeah.
Is anybody tired from doing your touchdown happy dance? Because we just love it. And this is how I said it earlier. We love it when somebody like him gets what's coming to him. And that's what happened. Okay, so there may be more to the story, though, there, and it's not about Jimmy Kimmel. It's maybe a bigger picture here. So here's what's going on. The FCC, it turns out, suggested that ABC's or the affiliate's broadcast license could be at risk because of Kimmel's criticism of the administration and his, frankly, just insane left-wing stupidity. FCC Chairman Brendan Carr was on the Will Cain Show on Fox, sharing his view of the situation. He says this is a matter of public interest obligation.
We're going to continue to hold these broadcasters accountable to the public interest. And if broadcasters don't like that, simple solution, they can turn their license into the FCC. There's other things that we can do with it that would serve the national interest. And
okay, I got some issues with this.
Yeah.
And the president even said they should lose their license because all they do is give me negative coverage. I mean, he said those words.
Yeah.
And this is not the way. Okay. I do not want the government being the one to police and say, I approve or I disapprove of what you're saying. Listen, Jimmy Kimmel's ratings, when Trump said his ratings were in the toilet, he was right.
Yes.
Jimmy Kimmel should not have been on the air just from a business perspective. And eventually that was the overriding factor. But we were originally told that the Trump administration had nothing to do with it. That's just a market reaction. People were calling stations. I'm sure that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got a big concern with saying, you know what, if you criticize, if you're biased, if you push back too hard against the government, then they should be able to shut you down. I don't like that because someday leftists are going to be in complete control of our federal government again.
Mm-hmm.
And I make my living pushing back against government.
Right. I mean, yes, it is objectively true that the broadcast news organizations have made it a part of their living, essentially, going after the Trump administration.
Yep.
Most of the time, unfairly
and dishonestly.
Yes, absolutely. That is absolutely
They're
true.
not the good guys.
They're not the good guys in this situation. But if the criteria is simply going after the government and we don't like that, so now you lose your FCC license, that would include us.
Yeah.
When during those 4 years, we say, hey, Biden's taking over sectors of the government. We don't want him to, or sectors of the private sector. We don't want him to do that. Biden's doing this. Hey, where is Biden? Can Biden put two sentences together? All of those negative things that we were saying about that administration could fall into the category that Trump is discussing here. It's like, well, you can't say that many negative things. If all your coverage is negative towards my administration, then you lose your FCC coverage. That would have killed us 2 years ago.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Lawmakers looking to fund the government because of that September 30th shutdown deadline. And so basically Republicans and Democrats have put forward opposing resolutions on special report on Fox. House Speaker Mike Johnson says the GOP is legislating in good faith, and he promises a more cohesive bill to come later. Just later. Just don't expect it right now. Can't wait to get your reaction to this one, Gabe.
We genuinely just need to buy a little more time for the appropriator to do their job. I can't understand how anybody could make a rational argument against that unless they're trying to use it for partisan political purposes.
How much more time do you need?
Yeah.
How many of these are we going to do?
This is stupid. No, how about just get it done?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
We just need more time.
No, you
really?
don't.
Why?
No, you don't. Not at all.
That's come on. Good God. All right. Turning Point USA picks Erica Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, to lead the organization after his assassination last week. The board unanimously chose her to be the CEO and the chair of the board. The memorial service, and we're going to talk about this. Let's do this around 8:20 or so. And what's next as well. That's going to happen Sunday at State Farm Stadium in Arizona. I suspect there are going to be a lot of conservative streaming channels that are going to be airing this. If you find Charlie Kirk's Rumble channel, you're going to be able to watch it live, and it's going to start around 10 a.m. our time,
right?
Which is 8 a.m. Local time in Arizona.
Yeah.
And so 10 a.m. here on Sunday, and then that'll be kind of the leading up coverage, and then the actual funeral is going to start at 11 a.m. Central Time, or 11 a.m. local time, which would be about 1 p.m. our time, I think.
Something like that.
Noon or 1 p.m. But Charlie Kirk's Rumble channel will tell you where to find all of that. All right. It is officially preseason for the Blues. Their training camp for the upcoming season is underway at the Centene Community Ice Center in Maryland Heights, not too far from the radio station here. The Blues' first preseason exhibition games are this weekend. They've got 2 games on the road this weekend. By the way, they just started the preseason training camp.
Yeah, so these games are not they're not going to be like this super competitive.
No, do not expect 120 mile an hour slap shots.
Right,
so the first game is tomorrow in Dallas, obviously against the Stars. Sunday in Columbus against the Blue Jackets. Look for everybody to be skating about half speed.
Yep. A lot of backup players on the ice for a good long time.
Yeah, going to be a lot of line changes, and the guys who are working for a spot on the team are going to get a lot of that bulk on the ice here.
Yep.
Cardinals are holding on to hope of getting into the playoffs with a wild card spot. Very unlikely.
Oh gosh,
believe it or not, still mathematically possible.
That's so weird to me.
Yeah, still mathematically.
Now that's just because of how weak the conference is, right?
Yeah, division. Yeah. So tonight they start a series with the division champion Brewers, and the Brewers have the best record in baseball. So other than the Brewers,
right? The rest of the rest of us are trash.
First pitch is at 7:15. Sonny Gray expected to be on the mound for this one. So 9 games left, and they're 4 games out. Technically, it's possible, but I imagine they're going to be eliminated by the end of the weekend.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
Oh, hey. Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, firearms enthusiast, looking for a family and veteran-owned shop with a wide selection of products and services? Head to DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green. DG Firearms has been your one-stop shop for custom ARs, Cerakoting, laser engraving, gunsmithing, suppressors, ammo, and reloading supplies. DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green, and online at dgfirearmsllc.com.
The tides are changing.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
The Democratic Party doesn't stand with what I stand for.
News Talk STL. The 80s. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm. Beats all you never saw, been in trouble with the law since the day they was born. Straight in the curve.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Waylon Jennings.
My dad and I watched this show
I did
religiously.
too, yeah.
We really did. It was. I get in 2025 that must sound really, really weird to the millennials and Gen Zers out there. It's like, yeah, me and my dad, who grew up in the segregated South, probably with people who sounded a lot like the guys on the show, loved this show. And he thought Boss Hogg was the most hilarious person on the planet.
See, Boss Hogg, but Roscoe P. Coltrane, the inept deputy sheriff, was to me.
Man,
he was more of the comic relief. Boss Hogg was so funny.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Oh, it was great. That was a great show.
I loved that dynamic where, deep down they couldn't admit that they all really liked each other. But the police had to chase. It was just such a
gotta chase
great
him.
dynamic here. Oh man,
boys, you know you can't do that.
That's right. No, look, I need. We got serious stuff to talk about here. Okay, this Flashback Friday with TV and movie themes. This has been a lot of fun, which we need right now because it's gonna be a heavy. It's been a heavy week.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a heavy weekend with Charlie Kirk's funeral for a lot of people. I'm gonna probably watch some of it. I don't know that I'm gonna watch the whole thing. But here's what's going on. The funeral is going to be happening, I'm sure, as you know, at State Farm Stadium in Arizona, where the Arizona Cardinals play football. President Trump's going to be there. Vice President Vance is going to be there. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. They're all going to be there. They're all going to be speaking. Erica Kirk is going to be speaking as well. I remember I had a small part in my grandfather's funeral. And I remember how hard that was.
Yeah, really.
I read I think I read his obituary. And that was hard. I cannot imagine doing this for your spouse less than a week and a half after he was murdered. For political purposes. So I don't know how Erica Kirk's going to do that. That is something I don't know that I could do.
Yeah, I certainly couldn't. I got called up to speak. I wasn't on the program to speak at my dad's funeral, but my brother-in-law who was officiating, he made me basically do it because he said you'd regret not saying everything. Everybody else said something. I kept it together for exactly 3.2 seconds.
Yeah. So this is going to be a massive, massive event. I don't know how many people that stadium seats. NFL stadiums typically seat 70, 80,000 people. Even when you take out the part behind where the stage is, which will probably not be filled, the rest of the stadium will be filled, and more than the number that will not be filled will be on the field. So whatever the stadium capacity for a football game is, they're probably going to have more than that at the stadium. I will be very surprised if there are any open seats.
I'm actually expecting there to be a significant overflow. I'm expecting, a number of people who basically aren't going to make it into the stadium. And they're just going to be basically holding, I guess, the equivalent of a vigil on the outside. Yeah,
I think so. So send me a note on social media, Rumble chat box, Facebook comments, anything like that. 314-912-1019. Will you be watching? And if so, what is it that you're watching for? Right. I mean, not why are you watching, but what is it that you're hoping to get?
What are you expecting?
What are you expecting? What are you hoping to see? Because then you've got the question as to who is going to be the next leader in this part of the conservative movement.
Right. Yeah. Who's on deck,
Yes,
essentially. Because
right.
I've seen a number
And that sounds cold-hearted to say that, but it's not.
Well, the thing is, I think, Charlie among many people would be, those people, Charlie would be the first to say, okay, who am I passing the baton to?
Right.
If he knew that his time was up, he would be asking that question as well. It's like, okay, which one of you guys is going to step up and do this kind of thing? I've heard a lot of names kind of thrown around. None of them, I think, it can do exactly what Charlie did, which is part of the problem I think that everybody's having right now is like filling that void, filling those shoes. It's
at least filling it that way.
Yes. Because Charlie had a remarkable way of addressing people. Like I know that the left all likes to call him a hateful bigot and all these things, but his discussions with people who would basically insult him to his face in those in those instances in his talks at on college campuses was so respectful. It was he was always the one trying to de-escalate the situation. He would meet your energy, but just at like 10% below, to try and pull you back down.
Right. Yeah.
So it was very uncanny to see the way he would engage, particularly with people who he disagreed with. And there are some interactions that are floating around on the internet that are just remarkable about how somebody who came up hating him, had a respectful dialogue with him and walked away, I think having a respect for him that they didn't expect to have.
And for the movement that he was involved in.
Exactly.
And so what you're about to see is a whole bunch of social media influencers who want to be the pick-me conservative.
Yeah, they're going to be vying for that position.
They're going to be jockeying for that. And there's going to be a lot of them who are just grifters.
And they need your eyes and your attention to vote for that, basically.
Right. When the reality is Charlie Kirk definitely was ambitious.
Oh yeah, sure.
Definitely was was somebody who definitely wanted to make a name of himself, but he just struck me as somebody who saw that he had a bigger role than most people in a movement.
Yes. I think there's something about people who are ambitious for a purpose as opposed to ambitious simply for self-aggrandizement.
Right. So,
and Charlie was definitely the former and not the latter.
And so I don't think there's going to be anybody else who can do what he did the way that he did it. That doesn't mean that somebody can't fill the void, but I think it's going to take more than one person, and they're not going to be able to say, well, I'm the one who's going to, sit under the tent now, and I'm the one that 5,000 people are going to show up to. No, you're not.
No,
there's nobody else who's going to do that. There's going to need to be sort of a reinvention of that sort of outreach.
Yeah, there's a difference between I want to carry the torch and continue the movement, and I want to step in and take that kind of place.
I want to be the one to sell books now. I want that sort of thing.
But we do have Tom who wants to relay some of his experiences being in Erica's footsteps as well.
Okay, Tom, you're on NewsTalkSTL.
So 18 years ago, this last February, my wife passed away. I wasn't going to speak at her funeral, and everyone said, "Oh, wait a minute. Tom, you've always been very opinionated. You're not going to speak. You have to." So I did, and it was tough. Now, I'll add one more to the equation. 3 weeks later, after my wife passed away, my mother passed away. So I lost my wife and my mother all within 3 weeks of each other. I spoke at my mom's funeral also. It was tough.
I can only imagine, yeah.
So, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, you got to talk. Yeah, see that's the thing with Erica Kirk speaking, and things moved very fast with Turning Point USA, with her now being the new CEO, the new chair of the board. I mean, I know that me personally, I would say I can't deal with this right now.
Right.
You guys run this. Let's talk about this, in a month or something. But she's
give me some time.
She's apparently like, okay, let's go. From a very personal level, at some point, this is going to sink in a different way, and I suspect just as a human, she's going to have to go. I gotta stay home for a few days. Oh, yes, do that.
Yeah.
So
I imagine she might feel a certain level of responsibility to make sure this thing continues.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, whether she's the right person, let's go see.
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk once said in an interview that Erica Kirk makes him look moderate by comparison.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see which direction she wants to go with Turning Point USA. Just based on what I don't know really anything about her.
Yeah.
But I saw much of that address she gave just a couple of days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. She has a good speaking style, but it's not the same. So her role would be doing something different when it comes to being out and speaking. But it's really early to try to determine. This is going to have to develop organically the way that Turning Point USA was built. You can't plan something out and say, okay, we're going to do this and then we're going to get this kind of reaction. You've got to find out what is it that people are going to relate to now in the absence of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
And who's going to be able to deliver that?
TPUSA is kind of quintessential grassroots.
Right.
So them trying to astroturf something would be so unnatural for them. So I'm hoping they just like you said, let it be organic.
Yeah, I think Erica is going to be probably the best person they could have had that announcement for. I think it makes total
For
sense.
CEO, you mean?
Yeah, to continue to make the decisions, to lead, to ensure the legacy lives on, so to speak. And I also think it could be a potentially good opportunity because we've seen how far left the younger girls are going. Charlie Kirk, I would say, is probably the reason why so many young men have actually woken up and realized the value of conservative values and ideals. So having, I don't want to say more feminine touch because she is definitely a fireball, and that's a good thing. I mean that as a compliment. But I think that maybe this could be a way to sort of say, well, the conservative movement's not just a bunch of old men. Here's why it matters to the women as well. Here's why these liberal ideas are making your lives harder. You're more toxic to be around. You're not happy. I was a wife of Charlie Kirk. I can speak from experience how much it's benefited me, and here's how we can do it for you. And I think that would be a fantastic way to continue that movement.
And she's definitely one of those examples, I think, of the strong conservative woman. She's an accomplished person on her own. She's got her own company or two. I think she's got a ministry that she heads as well. She's got a few degrees, so it's not as though she put those things off entirely.
She wasn't arm candy.
She wasn't arm candy.
No.
But she's also the type, I think, who would echo the same thing that Charlie says. The most important thing to her would be her kids, and raising a good and Christian family. So those types of values, I think, are important to be relayed to particularly young women right now. They're the ones who are kind of who have shifted very, very far left over the last few years.
There are multiple studies that are showing that's the case. Young men are drifting to the right
now,
and women are drifting to the left right now. And that's also actually a factor in the singleness epidemic.
Yes.
That we're seeing. That the Institute for Family Studies has compiled reports on that. If you go to their website, you can find it right there. That's not us just observing stuff or projecting. And it's not. What's interesting is it's not even just in the U.S.
Oh yeah,
this is happening in Europe too.
This is nationwide, basically all or a world Western culture wide. Yeah, so and by Western culture that includes places like Japan.
Yeah,
and China. Basically, if it's a developed nation and it should be going a certain, you would expect it to be a certain way. It is currently going this split between male, female, liberal, conservative. So here's hoping that her leadership might start, I guess, reaching out to the ladies.
Yeah, and I hope she takes the time when she needs it to go back away from the cameras and do what you have to do to deal with what's just happened.
Yeah. Now, among the things that I think could help, right the ship of the Western world is the fact that it's about time we have and demand better education, including America-focused civics education. I think that's very, very important for America, and that's happening, and we'll tell you all about that at 8:35.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. The overnight rain has fizzled out, and just expect either a spot shower, otherwise mostly cloudy for that drive into work today. Temperatures warming into the mid-80s this afternoon, and a little bit of redevelopment of isolated showers and thunderstorms is possible by the afternoon. This is expected to fade with the setting sun, keeping the rain chances through the weekend. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Fox News commentary.
The LA Times sees Gavin Newsom as the left's answer to Charlie Kirk, and they couldn't be more wrong. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Is a snake with many skins. I'd call him a chameleon, but a snake is more fitting. He's experimented with many different characters. He launched his podcast in an attempt to appear more moderate. He even had Charlie Kirk on as a guest and had a few points of agreement. But then he flipped and decided to go full TDS after President Trump prevented LA from burning to the ground during the ICE riots. So yeah, when I see the LA Times go out of their way to characterize Gavin as the left's Charlie Kirk, forgive me for calling BS. The article titled, "Charlie Kirk Gave Young Men Something to Believe in, Newsom Wants to Do the Same," is a joke. Gavin will never be like Charlie for many reasons, but specifically, Charlie told the truth. Charlie did not waver. Charlie was steadfast and resolute. Gavin does whatever Gavin thinks will bring him the spotlight. They are not the same. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michael's Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michael's has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michael's Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new NewsTalkSTL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
Everywhere.
anywhere. The 80s.
Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where are the beat?
It's Flashback Friday.
Love is up where we belong, where the eagles cry on the mountain high.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning, people.
Little Joe Cocker there.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, 8:35 right now. All right, what's the best way to get rid of indoctrination in schools? Well, you flood the classrooms with truth. That may be the best way to do that. We're now joined by Kelly Shackelford with the First Liberty Institute, and there's something that I think is really exciting, and I've already seen some left-wing media outlets decrying what's happening, which means that you're over the target. Kelly, it's great to chat with you again. Let's talk about the America 250 Civics Education Coalition, obviously in reference to America's 250 years of being a nation coming up next year. But what's the importance of zeroing in on civics education? There's a lot of problems with public education and education in general in this country. What is it about civics that matters so much?
I mean, I think that's probably one of the most important because if people don't understand their country, it doesn't really matter if you have skills and other things if our country goes down. And all the stats are showing, 73% of the country doesn't even know the three branches of government. That you've got 41% of students that say they do not love America. Well, the reason they don't love America is they don't know America. They're not getting history. They're not getting civics. And so this is the effort of the 40 groups across the country, the Secretary of Education. It's a great coalition that during the 250th, we're going to go all over the country and really begin to bring the basics back, the civics, the knowledge of the Constitution and your freedoms. Because if you don't know what your freedoms are, they'll be taken away. And so our phrase is sort of know America, love America, because that's the problem. Most people don't even know.
So, Kelly, is this going to be a matter of basically promoting and selling the importance of a civics education, or is this also saying, here's what needs to be a part of that education? Here's what needs to change when it comes to civics?
All of the above. It's 40 groups that each are doing their own thing. And there's actually more than that. I'm sure there's other that are producing things for the 250th anniversary. But we are coming together to kind of coordinate and to do some things as a group. So for instance, we're going to do a tour and go into every state, and there'll be an award given for something in particular in every state that it begins to highlight. There'll be a teacher symposiums to bring teachers together. The idea is to equip parents, equip teachers, and private school, public school across the board, and through the media to just begin to educate people that, they probably need to learn a little bit. And certainly our schools should be where this starts. And I think most parents, in fact, the polling is showing it. I think it was over 73% of American parents said that the history is not being taught regarding our country to our children. And so this whole 250th year is just a great opportunity to do a whole lot of things. There'll be lecturers in colleges. We're going to be doing things all over the country to begin to really just bring those things back, some of the basics that people don't know that make America the greatest country in the world.
So, Kelly, obviously we know of the left-wing, robust left-wing bias in so much of K through 12 public schools. Is this a matter of trying to replace it with right-wing bias, or is this trying to make it just facts and right the ship? Or is there a perspective that we should be teaching kids in civics?
Yeah, it's not. I got that question on an interview yesterday. It's like, well, is this partisan? And I'm like, not unless by partisan you mean, you have to have I hate America and it's horrible versus I love America because here's what America is. We're just going to teach the Constitution. Hey, look, let's take the example of Senator Kane just a week or so ago. We've got elected officials who don't even know the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. He said that, when the witness there before him in the Senate said that our freedoms come from God and no government can take them away, he said that terrified him, and it sounded like it's something out of Iran. No, it's out of the Declaration of Independence, which says that we have unalienable rights, and it's for that reason that government is formed, to protect those rights that God gave us and no government can take away. And so we've got government officials who don't even know that. So we've got to start teaching people the incredible truth that is this country, our founding, our documents like the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, and the freedoms that we have that make us this really unlike any other country in the world.
That voice you're hearing is Kelly Shackelford from the First Liberty Institute. Of course, now let me talk about your role in this coalition here, because First Liberty obviously focusing on the religious freedom aspect, and you all do fantastic work on this. What does the religious freedom aspect bring to the discussion about civics education overall? What's your lane in this?
Our lane is particularly, we're the experts on religious freedom. So that's what we're going to be talking about. There's people they don't know the first thing about the founders and what they did. Religious freedom, when you think about it, most people, let's say they're not religious, they think, well, yeah, that doesn't really matter to me. Oh, so wrong. And even people who are people of faith, they tend to think, yeah, I want religious freedom so I can do what I want to do with regard to my faith. It's so much bigger than that. Our founders understood that this was our first freedom, and that's what they called it, because they knew that if you took this one away, you will lose all the rest of them. And the reason for that is the one thing that a totalitarian regime will never allow are citizens who hold an allegiance to one higher than the government. So whenever that type of power control or tyranny comes in, the first flashpoint is always religious freedom. These people that won't bow a knee to the government. And if you lose there, you'll lose your free speech, your political freedom, your economic, you'll lose everything. And so most people don't know this. Well, if they did, every American, including, people who aren't people of faith at all, would fight to the death over religious freedom because it's really fighting for their freedom of conscience.
So when you're looking at the ideal civics education at whatever is age appropriate throughout the line here, are we talking about just memorize the Declaration of Independence, know what the Bill of Rights means, be able to state that? Or are we talking about something bigger as to the why and to the history behind it? Because, for instance, when you're talking about freedom of religion, the words that keep going through my head is for those who maybe are agnostic or atheist or, of a different faith from around the world, you could say freedom of conscience, freedom of principles, freedom of your own ideology as well, if that relates to them a little bit better. So what are we talking about would be the ideal approach to civics education?
Yeah, I think it's both, right? You need to teach them what does the Constitution say? What does the Declaration of Independence say? But then following that up with, why is that there? I mean, go a little deeper on it and provide more context. But I mean, our problem is they don't even know the first thing. I mean, we just had a U.S. senator that didn't understand the Declaration of Independence, said that we have unalienable rights. So we've got to start there. And our coalition has great people for that. Larry Arnn of Hillsdale is a part of that coalition. We've got scholars on the coalition. We've got Turning Point USA, which has a curriculum for all the youth on civics. And we're combining all of this to really try to hit every area around the country so that people can know our country and know the basic civics, the structure of our government, their freedoms. This country has innovation like nobody else in the world. I mean, the patent numbers, the things we've come up with, there's a reason for all those things. It's because this is the greatest country on the face of the earth because of the freedoms and the structure that are in place to allow us to be in the marketplace of ideas. Boy, never has that been more highlighted than with the horrible murder of Charlie Kirk. We lose free speech and we lose the ability to exchange ideas. We lose America.
Yeah. And that leads to the next question regarding the curriculum. Is the coalition going to be suggesting curriculum? I mean, Hillsdale obviously works with, a number of schools around the country already. And is this something that would be available to private or homeschool or anybody outside of the system?
Yeah, it's the coalition won't itself say, hey, we have one curriculum. There are all these things being produced that we're going to be highlighting. I mean, for instance, the White House already is putting up videos of the founding of America, the revolution and the different wars, the history. They're doing little 10-minute videos. There's just all kinds of things that are being produced that people can go see, they can use to teach, that are going to be out there. And we're going to try to bring all these tools that different people are producing that are really excellent and making those available to the public, and then intentionally going into all these different states and really a tour of America during the 250th to begin to teach people the basics of our country.
All right. And so let me ask you, as we wrap up here, Kelly, basically the end result, which could be years down the road. It's one thing to say, okay, we want a better curriculum. We want students to know better. What do you want them to do with it? What do you want the next generation to do better than the generation we've got right now? And by the way, Tim Kaine, people maybe forget, not only is a U.S. Senator, but he was a nominee for Vice President of the United States at one point. Just keep that in mind. That's how close we came to that. But what do you want the next generation to do with improved civics education? Basically, why does it matter to the rest of us who don't have kids in school anymore?
It's so important. I mean, we're going to lose our country, right? If you wonder why why a majority of young people are now in favor of socialism, it's because they don't know our history. They don't understand capitalism. They don't understand some of these basic freedoms. And so if we don't teach it, and Larry Arnn said this at our meeting, he said, this is a battle over the Declaration of Independence and who we are. And if we don't succeed here, our country is over. And we're in this ideological battle right now for people that want something very different. We have got to start teaching our young people. They've got to know what America is. and how special this is, and how incredibly regretful they'll be if they ever lose these things that they take for granted or don't know. And so this is the start of that. But I really think that what has to happen is we have got to get civics back in our school. I mean, the stuff I was taught when I was in school is not taught anymore. Just the basics of our country and our history. And this has got to come back.
And where do we learn more about the work the coalition's doing? And then obviously let's put the information for First Liberty Institute out there as well, Kelly.
I don't know that they've put up a website yet, because we're just kind of starting to meet. But what it's called is America 250 Civics Coalition. And I know the Secretary of State is a part of it, so there might be something already on the Secretary of State's site. But that's where I would start. But we'll definitely start rolling things out. People can go to First Liberty, just spell out firstliberty.org, and you can get information there, not only on that, but on all the cases all over the country. We just got a new case yesterday where in a community in Tennessee, they refused to allow the people there to hold a vigil when they asked for the permit because they said it was going to be religious. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just totally unconstitutional. So there's these kind of cases popping up around the country, and they can follow those as well at firstliberty.org.
All right, Kelly Shackelford, great chat with you again, Kelly. Thanks so much.
You too. Thanks a lot.
All right, 314-912-1019. That's how to get involved in the conversation here on 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Where we belong, up from the world below, up where the clear winds blow.
All right, you know what season it is. And for some people, that means baseball season. Some people, that means hockey season. But for a whole lot of you, that could mean dove season. That could mean turkey season. That could mean deer season. That could mean all sorts of different seasons. And you outdoorsmen and outdoors women, you need to be checking out my friends at Whistle Pig Outdoors. Mike Ferguson here for Whistle Pig Outdoors in Troy. By the way, coming up on October 3rd, October 4th, if you're going to Duck Fest in St. Paul, Missouri, they are going to be there. Be sure to check them out. But Whistle Pig Outdoors, everything from turtle box audio speakers for your outdoor. You can do that on your patio or on your boat. I was messing around with that with Cole there at their store the other day. Man, the sound on that is amazing. But also they've got the decoys that you're going to need, particularly for duck hunting. And they have very, very high quality ones that are going to probably get you better results. And don't forget those waders. Don't forget the calls, the blinds, you name it, they've got it. And the thing with this family run business, Jason and Cole, father and son, they put everything to the test because they only want to equip outdoorsmen, outdoors women, hunters with the best high quality. If it's not up to their standards, they don't carry it. Find out why people come from hundreds of miles around just to go to Troy to get equipped at Whistle Pig Outdoors, whistlepigoutdoors.com. Tell them you heard Mike bragging about them on the radio.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The Vic Borselli Show.
Friday, our regular Friday fun, and we kick off all the festivities with Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management at 9:05.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
So take a look at me now. There's just an empty space. And there's nothing left here to remind me. Just the memory of your face. Take a look at me now.
Hey,
this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I think back at the mid and late 80s, rather, on this Flashback Friday, I think every third song was something to do with Phil Collins. I mean, he was everywhere. Against All Odds on this one.
Yeah. Now, do you know what movie this is from?
The movie was not called Against All Odds.
I don't think so.
No. Because I can picture the movie. I'm trying to remember the title of the movie.
So now we know how to stump you.
Yeah. I mean, remind me, because I'm going to be like, oh my goodness, that's right when you tell me which one it was.
Oh, I that was a request. Yeah. I full disclosure, I had not seen any of the shows or movies from that these were sent from, but I do know that they were all from shows or movies because I fact checked them. But yeah, I wish I had that submission.
Google is our friend right now. Let's see here. That was 19. Oh no, the name was Against All Odds. That was the name of the movie. Yep, that was right. Yep.
All right. Well,
yep.
I think Monty's doing business stuff,
Yep.
but
Yep.
Now he knows if you want to stump you, it's got to be a movie.
No, it was because I'm like, I don't think it was called. No, but the movie actually was called Against All Odds. So yeah, been fun on the Flashback Friday. This was a blast. Okay, so normally on Friday shows, I try to make it really lighthearted, especially as we're heading into the weekend and wrapping up here. But the reality is that in the conservative movement, I kind of want to pick up what we were talking about a few minutes ago before we talked to Kelly Shackelford regarding, okay, what's next for this part of the freedom movement, of this part of the conservative movement, meaning reaching out to young people. As Gabe was mentioning, there's a big difference statistically, just getting down to the cold hard numbers, between what's happening with young men and young women. Young men, boys, are more open to the conservative message, and not even just politics. We're talking that conservative message of, family formation, that conservative message of, individual responsibility of young men and older, later on men, as opposed to the young women who are still buying into much of the modern feminism. And you're seeing a divide. And gosh, it was a year and a half ago, I did an interview with one of the folks from Institute for Family Studies. And they were pointing out the survey results that were showing that there was a divide between young men and young women, which is resulting in lower marriage rates, obviously lower fertility rates in the country. And there's just a cultural divide that's happening. Not to say that there aren't conservative women or liberal men. That's not saying that, but there's an overall trend that's happening, and it has societal problems, impact that it's bringing. And Charlie Kirk was, and again, I obviously I knew a little, knew some about him, and things I agreed with, things I didn't agree with, and like anybody else, but you can't deny his ability to relate to that age group across the board, both male and female. And now you get the question as to who is going to take that space. And I think it's a mistake for the conservative movement to say, we got to pick somebody.
Yeah.
That's not the right approach.
Well, okay. From the top down, yes, it should not be people within the organized upper levels that could say, okay, this is going to be the new Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. You don't crown them,
because people that like me, that were very much influenced, not always by the ideas, but by the examples set by Charlie Kirk, we already pretty much know who we would say this would be somebody we would also accept versus not that person. So if they actually care about listening to Charlie's core fan base and the people that actually had respect and admiration for him, then it'll come organically, I feel.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah.
I just think it has to. I mean, when you look at what was it that's being lost? I mean, obviously there's the personality, the author, the speaker, the media figure. There's that, but really what we're talking about is somebody who had a way of relating to people who were forming their life opinions. And that's what's being lost. It's not that there aren't other people who can relate to young people, but relating in the same way he did is something that has to not even replaced, but I think you have to almost replace it in the aggregate. You remember, did you ever see that movie Moneyball back from the, 10, 12 years ago? A really good movie. And Brad Pitt plays the general manager of the Oakland A's, who are just a terrible team. It was kind of based on loosely based on reality. Jonah Hill, I think it was, played the guy that he hired to basically try to find ways around the system. And one of the scenes in there, Brad Pitt is his character, Billy Bean, is arguing to all of the old school guys in the room. They have to replace 3 all-star players. And he says, we can't do it, but we can recreate them in the aggregate. What's the outcome that they were bringing? How do we find other people and have, even if it means more than one person, to replace this one? And that's kind of, I think, the approach the freedom movement leads to do, to say, who's the next Charlie Kirk? Well, there isn't one. But how do you recreate that impact in the aggregate? And that may mean doing something different and using more than one person and more than one organization. But I think you're right, Jerome. I think that's got to develop organically.
Because another thing about Charlie Kirk is that he was proof that what he believed was working for him. It wasn't like a social media influencer where they, live like me, buy my stuff. No, he was like, I will show you what I'm doing and you could replicate it.
Right.
And that's something. And I remember back closer to the election time, the left had made, somebody from the left had said, well, the thing the right lacks is that they don't have anybody telling their audience to go out there and engage with ideas they disagree with. They don't have anybody out there that can be a good influence like we have. And everybody unanimously was like, Charlie Kirk.
Well, wait a minute. Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we have Charlie Kirk. And so it's not enough to talk the talk. It would have to be somebody that can walk the walk. But I think that, again, Erica, from what little I know about her, and I know she's got a lot on her plate right now, and it's not fair to expect her just to suddenly, up and make everything perfect. But I think if they listen to her and they listen to Kirk's audience, then they will have somebody that will fill that aggregate.
So go to Charlie Kirk's Rumble page if you want more information on the memorial service, which is going to happen Sunday, and it's going to start late morning here. But go to his Rumble page. That's the most direct place if you want to watch that.
Hey, News Talk STL listeners, this is Levi with Reach Reproductive Health. So first,